Chapter 976. After 48 hours without laughter, the Pacific Ocean trip finally ended. Not far to the west, they were about to enter Huaxia's territorial waters. Gu Qia had asked her men to stop the boat early. Su Yin was not in a hurry to leave with Guogua and Kevin Matthew. He had already informed Lin Ge. Lin Ge and the others would rush over to pick them up as soon as possible. Recently, Dongying had been very chaotic, and the coastal defenses were much tighter than before. Of course, Lin Ge had his own ways, so Su Yin did not need to worry about it. Everything that happened 2 days ago had a great impact on Gu Qia. Su Yin did not know how to comfort her, but now that they were about to leave, Su Yin felt that he needed to talk to Gu Qia. What do you think? Su Yin walked to Gu Qia's side. The sea breeze blew, and he could not help but shiver. As the night fell, the air began to become damp and cold. Do you plan to continue like this? You know that I have no right to interfere with the Great Circle's affairs, but I still want to say that it's fine to not do the arms business. Gu Qia smiled. It's easy to say, but it's not so easy to let go. The Great Circle spent a lot of effort and time to build this business on the sea route. It's easier said than done to give it up. Not to mention that my father can't accept it, even I can't accept it. And arms are a symbol of power. If this business is not successful, how can the Great Circle establish a foothold in Canada? Su Yin nodded and did not pursue the issue further. I just feel that it's not suitable for a girl to do this. Old Gu can arrange for someone else to do it. Before me, the person who did this business was Bao Shisong. Gu Qia said. Ever since he betrayed the Great Circle, my father no longer dares to trust any outsiders. If I don't do it, I can only ask my father to do it himself. He's so old, I'm still worried. Then your brother? Su Yin frowned. Although he didn't like Gu Tianji, he was still Gu Qia's brother. Gu Qia wasn't in the mood to tell Su Yin about those old things. Let's not talk about him. My father said that he won't be able to achieve anything great. The Great Circle couldn't count on him. If he had any potential, my dad would have handed over the big circle to him. Su Yin didn't know where to start. I know what you want to say. Gu Qia smiled. Thank you. I will make a choice for my own life, but not now. I'm not ready yet. They should be here soon. You should go and prepare. I won't be sending you off later. I'm a little tired and want to rest early. The conversation ended when Gu Qia took the initiative to leave. Su Yin understood that whatever he said was meaningless. However, what Su Yin didn't expect was that when Lin Ge and the others came to pick them up, Gu Qia didn't come out to send them off. Guogua knocked on the door. She only said that she was a little tired and had already gone to bed. She wouldn't be sending them off. Guogua was sensible. She knew that Gu Qia didn't want others to see her sad face. Guogua said, Then I won't force you. Anyway, Guogua is sure that this isn't the last time we'll see each other. Goodbye, Sister Gu. I hope to see you again soon. Gu Qia nodded. Her smile was bright, but the tears that streaked across her cheeks made her smile so unpredictable. Su Yin and Kevin Matthew said goodbye to the many brothers in the mercenary group. Lin Ge also said goodbye to them one by one. However, Lin Ji's question broke the relaxed atmosphere. Where's Pinot? Obviously, Lin Ge had a deep impression of that clown. Seeing that everyone was silent, Lin Ge realized that something had happened. He didn't ask any more questions. He could see that the mercenaries were in a heavy mood. Okay, we should go. Su Yin was the first to get off the boat. On the way back, Lin Ge learned about Pinot's death from Su Yin. Only then did he know that they had encountered Muto Ichiro 2 days ago. If it wasn't for Kevin Matthews' superb marksmanship, Su Yin would have been the one buried at the bottom of the sea. Kevin Matthew didn't deserve the title of gun god. He used the simplest words to explain the uniqueness of his gun. Su Yin was shocked. Kevin Matthews' brain was implanted with the gun's programming chip. It sounded like an American sci-fi movie. It was said that Kevin Matthew was a weapons genius, and he deserved that title. That day, Su Yin also promised Kevin Matthew that he wouldn't tell anyone about this. Once this breakthrough invention was announced, the shock it would cause would be no less than the first atomic bomb explosion. This was a weapon that would determine the future of war. Lin Ge also admired Kevin Matthew. They were both young people who were about the same age. Kevin Matthews' name had spread far and wide. Although there was a saying that a man was afraid of fame, and a pig was afraid of being fat, no one dared to touch Kevin Matthew. Those American agents weren't to be trifled with either. If it wasn't for Kevin Matthew going to Huaxia through this channel, Su Yun and Lin Ge might have been targeted by the American intelligence agency. Brother, there's something I think I should tell you in advance, Lin Ge said awkwardly. Su Yun was startled. Lin Ge never stuttered when talking to him. What's wrong? Sister Qing Shuang and Cho Yun were both injured. They're both in the hospital. When did this happen? Why didn't you tell me in time? Su Yun directly interrupted Lin Ge. Lin Ge scratched his head awkwardly. I wanted to tell you immediately, but they didn't let me. They said they didn't want to distract you. They told me to tell you after I brought you safely to the shore, but I thought it would be better to tell you earlier. What's the difference between telling me now and after we reach the shore? Su Yun shook his head speechlessly. What happened? Someone detonated a bomb in the hotel restaurant. Lin Ge said. At the time, Sister Qing Shuang was inspecting the restaurant. It happened too suddenly. Sister Cho Yun pushed Sister Qing Shuang down and saved her. Sister Cho Yun is fine. She was slightly injured and is fine. Sister Shuang has a slight concussion and needs to be hospitalized for observation. Also, little Dongbei was there at the time. His eyes were injured by the explosion. Who did it? Have you found out? Su Yun frowned. Lin Ge shook his head. Sister Yizi and Sister Meiyan have been investigating all this time. Guogua held Su Yun's hand nervously. She was very nervous. RuanQingshuang and Cho Yun were the two most important people to her. When she heard that they were hospitalized, Guogua's heart was seized. She couldn't calm down at all. Su Yun stroked Guogua's hair and comforted her. Don't worry. Everything will be fine. Your Uncle Pigeon said that their lives are not in danger. It's fine. If my mother has a concussion, will she still recognize me? Guogua was so nervous that her palms were sweating. Of course. Lin Ge laughed dryly. She talks about you every day. Now that you are back, I believe Sister Shuang will be discharged soon. Uncle Pigeon, can you drive faster? Guogua's heart had already flown to the hospital. Chapter 977. The hospital's ward was a large ward with 4 beds. In order to ensure safety, Yi Fala used her connections to get the hospital to arrange it this way. This way Ruan Qingshuang, Cho Yun, and little Dongbei could stay in the same ward. There were also empty beds for the nurses on duty to rest. Ever since the explosion, Qin Wan'er had put all her attention on this case. It seemed that this kind of explosion was similar to a normal terrorist attack. The attacker was blown to pieces. However, Qin Wan'er felt that there was a problem. If a terrorist wanted to do this kind of terrorist activity in Xinjiang, they could have chosen a more crowded place like the subway station. It wasn't dinner time at that time. There were only a few guests in the restaurant of Xinkai Hotel. Choosing this time to make a move, there must be a special purpose and motive. Qin Wan'er just couldn't understand. Ruan Qingshuang didn't have any enemies. Why would someone do such a targeted terrorist attack? The only fortunate thing was that the guests in the restaurant were only slightly injured. Since Ruan Qingshuang and the others were admitted, Zhu Meiyan arranged for Zhu Yeming and Wang Zhe to take turns to guard them. She and Yi Fala were very alert to every movement in the hotel. Chang and the 3 tigers of Southern City were even more careful in the hotel. It was as if they were walking on thin ice. However, after the explosion, the hotel became more and more peaceful. Qin Wan'er also contributed greatly. Every day, she arranged for the police to strictly investigate all suspicious people and situations in Xinkai Hotel. It had been 4 days since the incident, and everything seemed to be calm. Cho Yun's injuries were not serious. The only ones who still needed to be nursed back to health were Ruan Qingshuang and little Dongbei. After Su Yun and the others got ashore, they immediately rushed to the hospital. After Lin Ge told everyone that Su Yun had returned safely, everyone also went to the hospital to meet him. Guogua was brought back safe and sound. This was definitely the best way to make everyone forget this unpleasant time. Kevin Matthew felt that he had come at a bad time. He didn't expect such a big thing to happen to Su Yun. Therefore, he consciously chose to retreat to an inconspicuous role. After Suyin asked for a while about the incident, he suddenly realized that he had neglected his important guest. I will find out the truth as soon as possible, Qin Wan'er said. It has already happened. This is the first time and the last time. She wanted to find out the truth as soon as possible. Suyin realized that Kevin Matthew had been standing there for a long time, so he quickly went forward to introduce him. When they learned that this was the famous military weapons genius, everyone couldn't help but exclaim. Kevin Matthew was a little embarrassed. He didn't expect his reputation to be so great. So you are Little Boo's idol? Yi Fala had long been curious about Kevin Matthew. You are. Kevin Matthew knew that the Lil Bu she was talking about was definitely Bu Fifan, Fifan's guardian. Suyin introduced and said to Yi Fala, I will stay in the hospital tonight. I will leave Matthew in your care. I was able to come back safely from Canada because of his help and support. Yi Fala smiled slightly. Even if he is not your friend, I will definitely treat him well. After all, he is Little Boo's master. If I neglect him, it will go against Huaxia's hospitality. You can rest assured. Ruan Qingshuang looked at Kevin Matthew embarrassedly. She knew that Suyin had to stay in the hospital mainly because of her. After all, Cho Yun didn't need to be taken care of. Little Dongbei was also very strong. Suyin, there are guests here. How can you stay in the hospital? Everything is fine here. You don't need to stay here. Guogua is enough. That's right, Dad. I am here. Guogua patted her chest and promised. I can definitely take good care of Mom. You can go do your own things. It was because of this that Suyin was not at ease. Before Muto Ichiro died, he didn't clearly explain how he knew about Guogua's background. Suyin couldn't be at ease. He didn't dare to be careless again. After that one time, he had already realized the seriousness of the matter. Suyin raised his head and looked at Kevin Matthew, hoping that he could understand his decision. I don't need you to accompany me. You can go do your own things, Kevin Matthew said bluntly. If I need your help, I will definitely not be polite and directly ask for your help. Suyin nodded. Then have a good rest tonight. If you want to go somewhere, just ask the brothers to take you there. As he said that, Suyin pulled Chong over. Chong, I will leave the task of receiving Matthew to you. Chong guaranteed. Brother, you can rest assured. No matter where Brother Matthew wants to go or what he wants to do, I will definitely make him satisfied. With Brother Chong's words, I am already satisfied. Kevin Matthew's character was also generous. It didn't take long for him to get along with everyone. With Chong and the other brothers, Suyin didn't have to worry about neglecting Kevin Matthew. After Yi Fala, Chong, and the others left with Kevin Matthew, Qin Wan'er also received a call saying that she had found some clues and hurried to the police station. Why did you bring such a big shot back? Only then did Zhuo Meiyan ask her question. Kevin Matthew is the weapon genius that the American government values the most. You even smuggled him back to China. Won't this cause any trouble? Suyin shrugged. Well, the Americans didn't allow him to apply for a visa to Huaxia. I'm afraid that the CIA is already investigating, but we only returned here after more than 10 days on the Pacific Ocean. No matter how smart the CIA agents are, they wouldn't have thought that Kevin Matthew would smuggle himself into Huaxia on a Canadian military ship. Zhuo Meiyan shook her head helplessly. You guys are really crazy. Someday, I will hire a real scriptwriter and let him listen to your story. It will be enough to rewrite a script and make a movie. If it's a movie like that, I would like to make a cameo appearance. Zhuo Yeming touched his chin. If you really want to be a star, you should go to the Chinese Drama Academy to gain experience for a few years. Zhuo Meiyan glared at her brother, then turned to Suyin. I'm relieved that you guys have returned victorious. It's getting late. We should go back first. Call me if anything happens. Suyin nodded. Go back and rest early. That's more like it. After Zhuo Meiyan left with her people, only Lin Ge stayed in the hospital to keep watch with Suyin. In order to cheer Ruan Qingshuang up, Guogua danced a song called Little Apple. Her dance was definitely not inferior to Pei Shiqi's. Ruan Qingshuang was in a good mood. As long as Suyin and Guogua were fine, she was in a good mood. It was late at night. Guoguo was tired and fell asleep. Linge got up and went out to buy coffee. Before the mastermind of the explosion was caught, they didn't dare to relax. Tonight, Suyin had just returned. Linge still hoped that he could rest. As for himself, drinking 2 cups of coffee and staying up all night wasn't difficult at all. Little Dongbei saw that Guoguo was asleep and Linge had gone out to buy coffee. He was a bit of a light bulb. He pretended to be tired and said, "Brother Yin, Sister Shuang, I won't chat with you guys. I'm going to sleep first. I'm sleepy. Anyway, I can't see right now. Whatever you want to do, just pretend that I don't exist." Chapter 978. In the dead of the night, Ruan Qingshuang looked at Su Yin in a daze. After her condition improved today, Ruan Chao went home to tell his parents that he would bring his parents to see her tomorrow. Now Su Yin had returned safely. Although she encountered such a thing, Ruan Qingshuang still felt that God was fair to her. "Why aren't you sleeping yet?" Su Yin smiled faintly. He sat beside Ruan Qingshuang's bed. Guoguo had already fallen asleep beside Ruan Qingshuang. "I want to sleep too." Ruan Qingshuang shook her head. "But I just can't sleep. Since Guoguo was taken away, I've been hoping that you would bring her back soon. Maybe I'm a little excited." Su Yin stroked the back of Ruan Qingshuang's hand. "Even if you're excited, you have to sleep. The most important thing for you now is to rest. Only with a good rest can you recover as soon as possible. Then can you sing a lullaby for me?" Ruan Qingshuang was rarely playful, but today she was like a child. Su Yin thought about it. He really didn't know how to sing a lullaby, but since Ruan Qingshuang suggested it, then he would give it a try. After clearing his throat, Su Yin began to sing in a low voice. "Happy beautiful sheep, lazy sheep, boiling sheep." Pft. Little Dongbei tried hard not to laugh out loud. "Boss, it's better if you don't sing a lullaby. Other people need money to sing. Although your singing isn't life-threatening, it's really out of tune. If children heard it, I'm afraid this domestic animated drama will be ruined." Ha ha ha. Ruan Qingshuang was also amused by Su Yin's singing. This wasn't a lullaby, it was a song to wake people up. "You'd better stop singing. If you continue, even Guoguo will be woken up by you. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses." Su Yin scratched his head helplessly. "When I was in the army, I won all the first prizes except for the 3rd prize in a singing competition." She couldn't even sing such a simple nursery rhyme, and she still wanted to get the 1st prize in the singing competition? Ruan Qingshuang didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Su Yin's antics. 3rd prize? Are there only 3 participants? Of course not. There are 6 of them. 1 first prize, 2 second prizes, and 3 third prizes, Su Yin said seriously. There was still no empty prize. Everyone who participated in the competition won prizes. Lin Ge bought the coffee and saw that Su Yin and Ruan Qingshuang were chatting, so he didn't push the door open to disturb them. Su Yin heard the sound outside the door. He patted Ruan Qingshuang's shoulder and motioned her to go to sleep as soon as possible. Then he turned and walked out of the ward. "Brother here." Lin Ge handed Su Yin a cup of coffee. "I've investigated this matter. I'm confused and have no clue at all. The culprit seems to have come for the hotel, but also seems to have come for Sister Shuang." Su Yin took the coffee and sat with Lin Ge on the bench in the corridor of the ward. His eyebrows had just relaxed when they furrowed again. Was there any evidence of a crime left at the scene? "The police did find some evidence, but I've already asked Sister Wan about it. There's nothing valuable," Lin Ge said. "It can't prove anything at all." Su Yin was still quite surprised about this matter. All the troubles in the past had come for him and Guoguo. Ruan Qingshuang being attacked was a bit inconceivable. Unless there was another possibility, which was that the culprit had come for the hotel. If that was the case, it would be even harder to make a judgment. Presumably, Yi Fala had a lot of enemies. But if it was Yi Fala's enemy, why would they trigger an explosive device in the restaurant? Yi Fala wasn't there at the time. By the way, according to the police investigation, this kind of bomb is very special. Generally speaking, it can't be bought on the black market, Lin Ge said. This is the most meaningful thing we can find now. But even the police said that this kind of bomb is very rare. Without any clues to investigate the source, I'm afraid that will be even more. Maybe there's someone who can help us. Soo-Yun's furrowed eyebrows finally relaxed. Kevin Matthew was right in front of him. He was an expert in this kind of thing. Maybe we'll know tomorrow. If you're sleepy, go to the bed and rest for a while. I'll keep watch. Lin Ge shook his head and swirled the coffee in his hand. I can't sleep now. Brother, tell me about what happened in Canada. Soo-Yun wasn't sleepy either. He sat in the corridor outside the ward with Lin Ge and started chatting. They talked about the Big Circle, the Indian gang and the Dark Angel. Soo-Yun said a lot, but he didn't mention Gu Chia. As for the reason, he probably didn't know himself. Lin Ge was very excited when he heard it. He regretted that he didn't go with them. Just thinking about avenging the Chinese made him feel excited. They also talked about Muto Ichiro's death. Lin Ge was even more delighted. Now that Japan was in constant internal strife and Muto Ichiro's lackey had ended up like this, how could Lin Ge not be excited? If it wasn't for what happened in the hotel, they would have been celebrating by now. Time passed very quickly. As the two chatted, the window at the east end of the corridor slowly turned white. The sun rose from the east, and it was a brand new day. Today was an important day. Ruan Qingshuang's head diagnosis gave a new conclusion. She had basically recovered and could be discharged. Other than not doing strenuous exercise, everything else could be done as usual. The bandages on little Dongbei's eyes could finally be removed. Under the doctor's instructions, little Dongbei put on sunglasses. He couldn't see bright lights for the next 3 days. This was nothing. Little Dongbei was already very excited to be able to see. If he was blind, he would definitely be depressed. If his eyes weren't good, he wouldn't be able to see his wife in the future. Wouldn't that be a great tragedy in life? After going through the discharge procedures, Ruan Qingshuang finally left the hospital that she had wanted to leave for a long time. It felt good to be back in the hotel again. During this time, Zhuo Meiyan had been putting aside her work and staying in Xinjiang. Now that Soo-Yun was back, Sky Entertainment's business had accumulated enough. She couldn't delay it anymore. Soo-Yun was grateful for everything that Zhuo Meiyan had done for him. Guogua also announced that she was officially on vacation. Although this little girl didn't even participate in the final exams. Now, Soo-Yun only had one thing to do. He had to thoroughly investigate the root cause of this explosion. Qin Wan told Kevin Matthew everything that the police inferred about the bomb based on the evidence at the scene. Kevin Matthew listened very seriously. In the end, Kevin Matthew nodded. To put it in a more sophisticated way, this bomb was custom-made. Who can make something like this? Soo-Yun asked. Kevin Matthew coughed lightly. This was the main point. Huaxia, there's only one person who can make a bomb like this. Fortunately, I know this person. I'm sure someone can contact him. Give me some time, I'll find out where he lives. I didn't think that after bringing you back to China, I would still need your help. Soo-Yun smiled embarrassedly. It's just a small matter. Kevin Matthew said. I'm not just helping you for free. I'll definitely need your help one day. When that time comes, you can't just sit back and do nothing. Chapter 979. Kevin Matthew lived up to everyone's expectations. After some twists and turns, he quickly determined the address of the bomb maker. It was in the famous Jinhua Heavenly Court in Xinjiang. Soo-Yun naturally had to pay a visit. He didn't want to trouble Kevin Matthew. After all, Kevin Matthew had mentioned that he had some friendship with this guy called Si Kongyi. Soo-Yun only needed Lin Ge to help him deal with it. However, Kevin Matthew didn't think so. If I don't take you there personally, I'm afraid he won't invite you into the house. I've heard that the security in Huaxia's rich residential area is very complete. If you don't go through the owner to enter the house, whether through the door or the window, the alarm signal will be directly connected to the police. If you don't want to carry the crime of burglary on your back, I'll take you there. You won't refuse me at the door. Soo-Yun wasn't afraid of the police. After all, Qin Wan wouldn't let him get into trouble. He was worried that if he did this, not only would he not be able to get anything out of him, but he would also alert the enemy. Once he did something that wasn't worth it, it would be too late to regret it. Brother, I think Brother Matthew is right. If we force our way in, I'm afraid we won't be able to get anything out of him. Lin Ge said. If I'm not wrong, this kind of custom-made bomb must have signed a confidentiality agreement. If Sikong-yi reveals the information, I believe he will be in big trouble. Unless we let him know. If he doesn't say anything, the trouble will be even bigger. You're not going to threaten him with death, are you? Kevin Matthews smiled. No need to be so troublesome. I'll go with you. If you really can't get anything out of him, I'll help you. Then you can rest assured. Su Yun was a little embarrassed. They were already in Huaxia, but he still needed Kevin Matthews' help. He really owed him a favor. Then I won't be polite with you. I'll leave it to you. Against the backdrop of the night, the park in Xinjiang's wealthy district appeared particularly enchanting. The night was too beautiful. After all, Su Yun and the other two were dressed in luxurious cars, so they wouldn't be looked down upon when they entered a high-end residential area. After registering, the security guard directly called Sikong-yi to ask if he had an appointment with a good friend. This was something that Su Yun and the others didn't expect. No. Sikong-yi said firmly and hung up the phone. The security guard looked at Su Yun and the others in surprise. Didn't you say that you had an appointment with Mr. Sikong? How did he? Maybe he drank too much at night. Kevin Matthews shook his head helplessly. Please call him again. I'll talk to him and he'll understand. Seeing that Lin Ge couldn't help but want to barge in, Kevin Matthews signaled Su Yun with his eyes to ask Lin Ge to be patient. It was better to do things calmly and not be impulsive. Impulsiveness was the devil. Seeing that Su Yun didn't give any instructions, Lin Ge wouldn't act rashly. He suppressed his anger and waited for the security guard to call Sikong Ye's house again. I said I don't have any guests today. Sikong Ye's temper wasn't small. He got angry the moment he picked up the phone. Without waiting for the security guard to speak, Kevin Matthew took the phone from the security guard's hand. Brother Sikong, it's me, Matthew. Kevin Matthew. Oh. The other side of the phone was silent for a while. Then he suddenly exclaimed, Matthew? Oh my God. I didn't tell Brother Sikong that I'm visiting in the middle of the night. I'm so sorry. Kevin Matthews smiled. I wonder if Brother Sikong welcomes me? If not, I'll take my leave first. I'll invite you to my place another day. No. Mr. Matthew, of course I welcome you. I'll go and welcome you now. Sikong Yi knew Kevin Matthews' position very well. He had to curry favor with Kevin Matthew. Sikong Yi knew very well that he couldn't get the kind of life and status he wanted now. However, as long as Kevin Matthews said something, even the heads of the U.S. Department of Defense and the Joint Chiefs of Staff would look at him differently. Kevin Matthew laughed. You don't have to come out. Just let the security guard open a path. We'll drive straight in. Yes. Sikong Yi nodded. Kevin Matthew then passed the phone to the security guard. He smiled triumphantly and glanced at Su Yun and Lin Ge. It would be less troublesome to walk in openly than to barge in. Su Yun gave him a thumbs up in admiration. Please come in. The security guard let the three of them pass with a sincere attitude. There were 80 households in this area, and only 30% of them were occupied. Therefore, the security guard was familiar with every household owner here. The one with the worst temper among them was Sikong Yi. This was the first time the security guard had seen Sikong Yi so enthusiastically invite a guest over in more than a year. Brother Matthew has a lot of face. Not to mention overseas, even in China, he's popular. Lin Ge exclaimed. Kevin Matthew shrugged. It's just a coincidence that I met someone in the same field as him. If it were someone else, I wouldn't even know who they are, let alone give them face. The three of them quickly arrived at the courtyard of Villa number 28. Every villa here was at least 1 kilometer away from each other. There was quite a lot of greenery. Rich people always hoped that these greenery could improve the air quality, as if it could reduce their chances of getting lung cancer. Sikong Yi had already arrived at the door to greet Kevin Matthew when he heard that he was visiting. Sikong Yi was 35 years old. Although he wasn't very old, he was quite successful. However, he was never satisfied with the status quo. He hoped to get stronger support from a stronger country. Therefore, he envied no one but Kevin Matthew, who was treated like an emperor by the United States government. When Sikong-yi saw that it wasn't just Kevin Matthew, he was a little surprised. However, he quickly regained his composure and warmly invited the three of them into the house. Mr. Matthew, do you want coffee or tea? Sikong-yi didn't prepare tea in advance because he didn't know Kevin Matthew's preferences. No need to trouble yourself. Mineral water is best. Kevin Matthew said lightly. We didn't come here to drink tea with you. Brother Sikong, I have something to ask you. Sikong-yi hurriedly went to the fridge to get some water. He sat quietly opposite the three of them. Mr. Matthew, please let me know if you need anything. However, I'm quite surprised. How did you find me? My friends helped. Kevin Matthew said lightly. Although Xinjiang has a large population, it's only the size of a palm. To find a talented person like Brother Sikong is a simple matter. Ha ha ha, Mr. Matthew, you must be joking. Sikong-yi laughed happily, although he knew that his achievements in the military world were far from Kevin Matthew's. Brother Matthew, let's get down to business with Mr. Sikong. Lin Ge was a little impatient listening to the two of them. It wasn't that he hated Kevin Matthew, but he hated Sikong-ye's flattering tone and flattering smile. It really made him unhappy. Chapter 980. Of course, Sikong-yi was not a fool. If he served Kevin Matthew well in Xinjiang, it would be much easier if he suddenly went to Seattle and asked him to help him find a good position in the U.S. military's Weapons Research and Development Department. Huaxia people were always at the forefront of the world when it came to dealing with interpersonal relationships. You could not live without connections, and you could not do anything without connections. If you had connections, you could go anywhere without bowing your head. If you did not have connections, you would not be able to do anything even if you had courtesy. Huaxia people's social relationships were so realistic. Huaxia people were deeply influenced. In this day and age, even if there were beautiful and capable girls who used their abilities to climb to a high position, they would be said to have used their bodies to create connections. Sikong-yi was so enthusiastic about Kevin Matthew because he wanted to build a good relationship between the two of them. This was called relationships, and this was called planning for his own future. He had to get Kevin Matthew. Sikong-yi firmly believed that this was an opportunity given to him by God. Brother Sikong, then I will ask directly. How could Kevin Matthew not know what Sikong-yi was thinking? He could get Sikong-ye's address through a few phone calls. This showed a very simple problem. Everyone in Huaxia wanted to get in touch with him and help him do something to make him remember them. This was not for others, but for their own future. They would tell themselves that if they had the opportunity to develop in a bigger place in the future, Kevin Matthew could help them reach the sky with a single word. Mr. Matthew, please go ahead. Sikong-yi sat across from Kevin Matthew very seriously, ready to listen to his questions. A few days ago, there was an explosion at Xinjiang Xinkai Hotel. According to the police investigation and evidence, the explosion was caused by a special kind of bomb. This kind of bomb does not circulate on the black market. Therefore, it is impossible to find clues from the people in the black market. Kevin Matthew said bluntly, but I can confirm that the bomb was made by you through the scene of the explosion, and some clues and scattered evidence collected by the police. 2 years ago, there was a genius gathering for weapons enthusiasts in the United States. At that time, you used this kind of bomb and left a deep impression on me. So, Sikong-ye's forehead was already sweating. He didn't expect that Kevin Matthew's visit would have something to do with this. If he had known, he would have packed up and fled. He really didn't know which bastard had sold out his address. So I hope Brother Sikong can cooperate with me and tell me who you sold the bomb to, Kevin Matthew said. Sikong-ye's forehead was covered in a thin layer of sweat. He didn't know what this had to do with Kevin Matthew, nor did he understand why Kevin Matthew would ask him this question. Thinking of this, Sikong-yi turned his head to look at Su Yin and Lin Ge. This matter definitely had something to do with these two brats. There must be no mistake. He could not admit it. If he did, it would be more difficult to continue the conversation. Mr. Matthew, I think there may be some misunderstanding. My bomb is not something rare. Sikong-yi said. Maybe someone else will do it. It's hard to say. Are you playing with fire and refusing to admit it? Lin Ge didn't have as much patience as Su Yun. When he heard that Si Kongyi refused to admit it, he couldn't help but stand up. Si Kongyi's heart skipped a beat. He hurriedly said to Kevin Matthew, "Mr. Matthew, what do you mean?" "Nonsense. Don't try to pin everything on me, Brother Matthew. You know very well whether you were the one who sold that thing or not." Lin Ge said, "We even invited a weapons expert. How could there be a mistake? I tell you, I don't have much patience. Think carefully before you speak. Pigeon, sit down. You don't have the right to speak." Su Yun said lightly. Kevin Matthew hadn't finished yet, so there was no need to be so anxious. Lin Ge might not listen to Kevin Matthew, let alone Si Kongye's words. But since Su Yun spoke, he immediately sat back down obediently. Si Kongyi was somewhat frightened by Lin Ji's actions. He took a sip of water with trembling hands. "Mr. Matthew, if you came here to talk to me about this, then I really have nothing to say." Si Kongyi took another big gulp of water. "I have nothing to do with this. Brother Si Kong, if I didn't have 100% confidence and certainty, I wouldn't come here." Kevin Matthew said, "Since you don't admit it, I don't have to force you to admit it. After all, we are friends. I gave face to my friends, and you also gave face to my friends. In the future, our relationship won't change because of this matter." After listening to Kevin Matthew's words, Si Kongyi breathed a sigh of relief. That's good, that's good. As long as Kevin Matthew didn't argue with him, he didn't care what other people thought. But Kevin Matthew changed the topic. "You saw it just now. These two friends of mine aren't as easy to talk to as I am. Since Brother Si Kong doesn't want to talk to me, then talk to them. This is Su Yin, my brother Yin. I'm staying at Shinkai Hotel now. Everything was arranged by him. He has to find out about the explosion at Shinkai." Si Kongyi raised his head and glanced at Su Yun. When the other guy was trying to scare him, it was Su Yun who stopped him. This made Si Kongyi feel that Su Yun should be an easy person to talk to. He wasn't afraid of this kind of person. As long as he clenched his teeth and refused to admit it, this matter would be forgotten tomorrow. "Brother, if I know anything, I'll definitely tell you," Si Kongyi explained to Su Yun. "We're fated to meet each other. We'll be friends from now on." Su Yun, who had been gentle and refined just a moment ago, suddenly kicked over the coffee table. Si Kongyi was completely dumbfounded by this sudden outburst of anger. He stared wide-eyed at the suddenly furious Su Yun. It was as if this person had changed into another person in a second. "Si Kongyi, if we talk, I'm afraid it won't be pleasant." Su Yun's face was cold. He really wasn't in the mood. This bomb put Ruan Qingshuang in too much danger. "Matthew gave you a chance just now, but you didn't take it." I already said that this is a misunderstanding. This has nothing to do with me." Si Kongyi was a little nervous. He wanted to call the police, but the alarm system button was under the coffee table. However, the coffee table had already been kicked over by Su Yun. "You better think carefully before you speak. This is my house. Your actions just now have caused me to commit a crime of personal harm. I have the right to sue you." Su Yun ignored his threats. He stepped forward and didn't give Si Kongyi any time to react. His big foot directly stepped on Si Kongyi's chest. If it wasn't for the fact that the sofa was leaning against the wall, Su Yun's strength would have been enough to stomp him to the ground. "If you can't remember, it's okay. I can help you wake up. Sometimes people are like this. They need to wake up." Su Yun smiled as he twisted open the bottle of mineral water in his hand and poured the whole bottle on Si Kongyi's head. Si Kongyi took the water out of the fridge. When the cold water poured over his head, he couldn't help but shiver. If he hadn't gone to the toilet just now, he would have peed his pants. Kevin Matthews smiled helplessly. Su Yun, oh Su Yun. He really couldn't understand his actions. A second ago, he was still trying to stop Lin Ge from speaking rudely and playing the good guy. The next second he became a big villain. Chapter 981. Si Kongyi's head was drenched in cold water. Every inch of his skin was covered in goosebumps. He didn't expect the other party to suddenly attack him so violently. As a technical geek, it was reasonable for him to be physically weak. Su Yun's casual kick was enough to make it difficult for him to even breathe. In his panic, Si Kongyi looked at Kevin Matthew for help. This was his only hope now. Mr. Matthew, tell them to stop. What are they doing? We are friends. How can you treat me like this? Quick, tell them to stop. Let's talk things out. I'm sorry, Brother Sikong. We are indeed friends. I've said before that no matter what happens today, we will still be friends. But it's not up to me now. These two friends of mine are originally good-tempered people, but if this happened to anyone, I'm afraid they wouldn't be able to talk things out peacefully. Kevin Matthew said calmly, we are all friends. Since I can't convince you to explain the situation to me, I can't convince them to leave here, and not cause you trouble either. I'm neutral. If you want them to be calm and courteous, then cooperate more. I'll cooperate. I'll cooperate. This is a misunderstanding. It really has nothing to do with me. How about this? If you have any questions, I'll answer them. Si Kongyi said. I've already said let's be calm. Calm down. You are Matthew's friends, so am I. A friend of a friend is a friend. Su Yun said bluntly, I'm not here to listen to your nonsense. Who bought a bomb from you? This is really a misunderstanding. I've already said that it really wasn't me. Si Kongyi clenched his teeth and insisted. But what welcomed him was the other bottle of cold mineral water in Su Yun's hand being poured over his head. Right now, the sofa that Si Kongyi was sitting on was already filled with water. Su Yun glanced at Kevin Matthew. Kevin Matthew shrugged his shoulders. His expression told Su Yun that his judgment was not wrong. If Si Kongyi did not admit it, there was nothing he could do. As long as Kevin Matthew was certain, Su Yun would be able to pry the answer out of his mouth. Pigeon, let him bleed. Lin Ge was startled. This wasn't Brother Yun's style. It seemed like Brother Yun really didn't have much patience. No one would be able to control their emotions when their beloved woman's life was threatened. After receiving Su Yun's order, Lin Ge immediately pulled out a short blade from his trousers. Before Si Kongyi could react, the blade was already pressed against his neck. The faint contact between the cold blade and his neck made Si Kongyi's hair stand on end. As long as Lin Ji's wrist trembled slightly, he would definitely see red. Calm down. Calm down. Si Kongyi was starting to get really scared. We want to talk nicely, but you don't want to. Su Yun. I know your rules. If you reveal the identity of the buyer, you might be in danger of being killed. But right now, if you don't tell me, I can take your life right away. Kevin Matthew added. He's not just saying that. I understand. Si Kongyi's throat moved, and he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Finally, don't talk nonsense. Lin Ge raised his wrist, and Si Kongyi immediately felt the pain of his skin being cut. From now on, you have to pay the price for every word you say. Because the blade was so close to his throat, and the blade was so sharp, Si Kongyi didn't even dare to speak. He was afraid that if he made a sound, the blade would cut his throat even more. Lin Ji's hand loosened slightly, and Si Kongyi finally got a chance to breathe. They forced me to do it. They knew that I was the only one who could create a small explosion that wouldn't endanger anyone within 2 meters of me. Their goal was to intimidate, so the bombs I made were the most selective. Who? Su Yun said straightforwardly. I'm not here to buy a bomb from you. You don't have to recommend your products so strongly. Guanpeng. Si Kongyi said. I don't know who they are, and they never mentioned it to me. I only found out about this name when I accidentally overheard them talking on the phone. Their boss is called Guanpeng. I've never seen this person before, but these people are all under Guanpeng's orders. Guanpeng is the mastermind, and it has nothing to do with me. This name was both familiar and unfamiliar. Su Yun felt that he had heard it somewhere before, but he couldn't remember where he had heard it before. If even Su Yun didn't know who it was, Lin Ge naturally wouldn't have heard of it either. They looked at Kevin Matthew, and Kevin Matthew was even more confused. He knew even less about Huaxia's underground world. In order to show his cooperation, Si Kongyi added, those people under him are very strong. At first glance, you can tell that they are the kind of people who play around with fitness. Their bodies are very strong. For your own good, I advise you not to trouble them. For your own good, you better not rely on your knowledge of weapons to earn this kind of money. Lin Ge snorted. With such a luxurious mansion, if a technical geek didn't use some tricks, it would be impossible for him to earn so much money. Sikongyi probably helped a lot of people from the underworld do illegal things, which was why he could earn so much money in such a short time. About this Guanpeng, how much do you know? Su Yin said. Where are they or? I swear I really don't know anything about this. Sikongyi said with a sad face. I didn't want to do it for them. They didn't pay at all, but I had no choice. I was forced. If I didn't listen to them, I don't know what they would do. Although I usually do some bad things, I am also very clear about this kind of thing. It is very likely that they would use it to cause panic and create terrorist incidents. But I had no choice. I can't win against them. Su Yin signaled Lin Ge to let him go. Sikongyi was indeed a coward. They had just started to threaten him, and Sikongyi was already scared. It probably didn't take much effort for Guanpeng's subordinates to get rid of him. If this guy was a little tougher, as a technical geek he might be valued by the army. But if he was a coward, no matter how talented he was, the army wouldn't look at him. A coward wouldn't be able to achieve anything. He could only be a useless person for the rest of his life. How many of these bombs did you give them? Su Yun's voice was irresistible. Sikongyi said weakly. They asked for one. I made three. I didn't want to make so many for them, but the materials they brought were enough to make 3. I was afraid that they would be angry at me. So I made 2 more to show my sincerity. That way, even if they wanted to kill me, they might leave me a way out. Lin Ge really wanted to slap this guy. This guy was really hopeless. The other party only wanted 1. It meant that they didn't want to cause fear in the people. They were completely aiming for the hotel, or rather, for Ruan Qingshuang. Su Yin was also sure of this. Who exactly was Guanpeng? This became the most important problem for Su Yin to solve. There didn't seem to be such a name in the underworld, but the more Su Yin thought about it, the more familiar it was. Chapter 982. Mr. Matthew, if they know that I betrayed Guanpeng, I won't be able to stay in Huaxia anymore. Although Huaxia is so big, there is no place for me to stay. Sikongyi sighed. I have nowhere to go now. I can only pack my things and go abroad to hide. If I go to the United States, can Mr. Matthew help me? The American government is already in such a state, but Brother Matthew is still unmoved and not willing to risk his life for them. Lin Ge said. You grandson, yet you want to take the initiative to go to the American government to look for work. You are sticking your face to other people's buttocks, and you still have the nerve to ask? Don't you feel ashamed? Sikongyi gritted his teeth and hated Lin Ge in his heart, but he still continued to plead with Kevin Matthew. Mr. Matthew, I have fallen into this situation because of you. We have some friendship. You won't leave me in the lurch, right? If you really can't live anymore, then think of a way to apply for immigration. Kevin Matthew said. There must be a place for you to stay in the United States. If I can help you, I will not refuse your request. However, I am afraid that I can't help you with anything now. If the American government knows that I am in Huaxia, I am afraid that they will even have the idea of killing me. If you want to be safe, it is best to cut ties with me. What? Sikongyi's head buzzed. What do you mean? The American government even has the idea of killing you? Are you really giving up the great future that the American government has given you? And just return to Huaxia? Mr. Matthew, this is a very unwise move. You must not do such a stupid thing. Kevin Matthew shrugged. But I have already done it. I am already standing in Huaxia. Of course, as long as you have nothing to do with me, the American government will not make things difficult for you. It is an open and free country, and it pays attention to human rights. So you will be able to live well there. Sikongyi stared at Kevin Matthew with his eyes wide open. You mean, once you come to Huaxia, you will never go back? I can't guarantee this, but at least I can be sure that the American government will not welcome me back. Kevin Matthew was very honest. So I really can't help you. Then why am I wasting my time here with you? I made friends with you because of the American government behind you. You're nothing now. Why didn't you say so earlier? Sikongyi almost broke down. I'm going to call the police now. You are trespassing. I will sue you. Sikong-yi was so angry that he felt like his heart and lungs were about to explode. He could not believe the reality. He actually flattered a guy who was of no use to him for such a long time. Damn it, Kevin Matthew, how dare you play with me? I will not. Let's go. Sue your ass. Lin Ge jumped up and kicked Sikong-yi in the face. Sikong-yi didn't even make a sound before he fell into his own sofa and fainted. It was a clean move without any hesitation. Lin Ge clapped his hands and smiled at Kevin Matthews' thumbs up. Let's go. If the police really come, we won't be able to explain ourselves. Su Yun was still thinking about Guan Peng's name. Since the incident happened in Xinjiang, perhaps Yifara would know who Guan Peng was. Anxious to return home, Su Yun and the other two quickly left Jinhua Heavenly Court. Originally, according to the rules of the rich area, before the guests left, the host had to call the security department first. Only after confirming that the host was safe and sound would the security at the door let them go. However, the host was Sikong-yi. All the security knew that the host had a bad temper, and no one wanted to provoke him. The three of them had just entered. Sikong-yi didn't call the security department, and the security department didn't stop them either. They just let Su Yun and the others leave. If a person was unlucky, then even drinking cold water would be stuck in their teeth. Sikong-yi had encountered such an unlucky incident. After returning to Xinkai, Ruan Qingshuang asked Ruan Chao to arrange their parents' accommodation. After the two elders of the Ruan family arrived in Xinjiang and learned that their daughter was fine, they were very relieved. They went shopping with their son for the whole day. Of course, it was Yifara who forced Ruan Chao to take a day off. Su Yun hurriedly found Yifara and immediately told him everything he knew from Sikong-yi. When Yifara heard the two words Guan Peng, he quickly raised his head and looked at Su Yun. These were all fleeting details and Su Yun saw all of them. Who is this Guan Peng? Su Yun asked. Yifara shook his head. Maybe I'm ignorant. I really haven't heard of this person. Now isn't the time to joke around, Sister Yi. Su Yun looked at Yifara seriously. Yifara took a deep breath and sighed. Okay, I do know this Guan Peng. Although he doesn't belong to the underground world, he's definitely someone that people in the underground world don't want to provoke. Do you know why you feel that his name is very familiar? It's because he's the founder of Huaxia's top underground boxing competition. So it's him. Su Yun suddenly realized. No wonder he felt that this name was very familiar. Although he wasn't famous in the underground world, there were quite a few people who fought for him who were famous in the underground world. However, such a person had nothing to do with Ruan Qingshuang. Why would he do such a dangerous thing to Ruan Qingshuang? Su Yun couldn't understand at all. He couldn't understand at all. The only explanation was that Yifara had some old and new grudges with this Guan Peng. Do you have any conflicts with him? Su Yun didn't hide his doubts and asked directly. Yifara shook his head. It really can't be considered as any conflicts. It's just that we met a few times in the past. However, about a year ago, there was a huge riot in the underground boxing competition. After that, Guan Peng stopped. It's only recently that he wanted to stir up a storm of blood in Xinjiang. That made people puzzled. Ruan Qingshuang definitely didn't have any grudges with this Guan Peng. Yifara also didn't have any deep grudges with him. Why would he do this? Are you sure that person didn't lie to you, and that it was really Guan Peng who did it? Yifara was slightly doubtful. Su Yun nodded. At that time, the look in Sikong-ye's eyes couldn't have been faked. He was really afraid of death. Faced with such a threat, he didn't dare to lie. This was something obvious. I'm sure. When faced with such a threat, people like Sikong-ye wouldn't dare to lie. Yifara didn't say anything else. She was silent for a while. Then I'll help you keep an eye out. It's best if we understand the situation before making a move. Know yourself and your enemy and you won't be defeated in 100 battles. These words weren't wrong. Su Yun's days in Xinjiang weren't that stable. He didn't have time to understand Guan Peng. Now that someone stepped on his head, if Su Yun didn't settle this matter, he wouldn't be able to stand firm in Xinjiang. Xinkai's status in Xinjiang would also be lowered. Many things could happen due to a chain of events. Therefore, Su Yun had to take this seriously. The first time Guanpeng touched trouble, he touched Su Yun's bottom line. Su Yun naturally wouldn't tolerate it. Chapter 983. Late at night, the brightly lit streets of Shenzhen contrasted sharply with the scattered stars in the sky. The famous Qin Tai Hotel stood in the middle of the night. Most people didn't know that there was a third floor under the hotel's two-story underground parking lot. Of course, the third floor wasn't a parking lot, but a miniature indoor arena that imitated the ancient Roman Colosseum. The ring-shaped seats were enough to accommodate thousands of people at the same time. It wasn't easy to accommodate such a large number of guests in such a space. After all, other than the spectator stands, there was also a fighter's lounge, a fighter's passageway, a special betting platform for underground fights, and so on. The match that was originally scheduled for tonight was cancelled, but Guanpeng still came to the arena that he had painstakingly built and sat down quietly. Everything here belonged to him. In this place, he was the underground emperor, who could get whatever he wanted. No one dared to go against his will, and no one dared to go against his orders. He said that whoever didn't live past this night wouldn't be able to see the sun rise tomorrow morning. Guanpeng had the best underground fighters in the country. These people were different from those who focused on qi cultivation. They focused on pure martial strength. For example, they focused on cultivation to ensure that their strength was balanced in all aspects. It was like the strength of Demacia or Iron Man in LOL. Underground fighters focused on martial strength. It was like the Darkborn Sword Demon, or the Peerless Sword Concubine. Although this analogy wasn't very appropriate, it was more or less the same. Therefore, because underground boxers did not cultivate qi, they would not be looked down upon by cultivators of the ancient martial arts. This was the reason why underground boxers would not be able to make a name for themselves in the underground world. After all, to a certain extent, underground fighters weren't suitable for battles without restrictions and rules. Their weapons were their fists. They didn't have hidden weapons, swords, daggers, or even pistols. The experts that appeared in the underground world these years, whether it was the 3 kings or the 7 kings, were all people who cultivated both the ancient martial arts and the state of mind. Therefore, underground fighters were slowly ignored. No one was even willing to admit that they were experts. They were only seen as a group of clowns. Of course, this situation was indeed because some clowns had deeply imprinted this idea in the eyes of the underground world's experts. Therefore, even those third-rate masters who were no match for underground boxers began to look down on the strength of underground boxers. Guanpeng had been in charge of the underground world for all these years, but no one had ever mentioned his name in the same breath as the 3 kings of the underground world. No, not even the 7 kings of the underground world had ever been mentioned in the same breath. Quite a number of people would only hear his name once or twice by chance, and then they would quickly forget it. However, Guanpeng had never given up on being an underground boxer. He believed that sooner or later, their group would be recognized by the people of the underground world. They would be recognized by those who believed that cultivating the state of mind was the most important thing. Those who trained their muscles and bones were also not to be underestimated. Finally, the appointed time arrived. A burly man with short hair knocked on the door and entered. He said in a low voice, "Second brother, Miss Yi is here." "Then hurry up and invite him in." Guanpeng came back to his senses and put out the cigar in his hand in the ashtray. Yi Fala's voice came from behind the burly man with short hair. She walked straight towards Guanpeng. "Second brother, long time no see." Guanpeng, who was 38 years old, looked like he was in his early 30s. He was the second child in his family, and he respected martial Saint Guan Yunchang very much. The tattoo on his back of the beautiful bearded duke riding a white horse and angrily raising the azure dragon crescent blade to behead Yan Liang was enough proof. Therefore, he liked others to call him second brother. No matter if it was someone older or younger than him, as long as they understood him a little, they would respectfully call him second brother. At this time, Guanpeng would always feel a little proud and arrogant. That kind of feeling was as if he had really become Guan Yu. "Easy, long time no see indeed." Guanpeng faintly smiled. "I've also heard a little about your matter. I really didn't expect you to come out so quickly. Hee, your relationship is quite strong. In the future, If I have something that I can't handle, I hope you won't just stand by and watch. Second brother is joking. If it's something that even second brother can't handle, what virtue and ability can this little girl have? Yi-Fala faintly smiled. Second brother, let's not talk so much, right? I'll be frank. Guanpeng's face didn't have the slightest change in emotion. He faintly said, don't worry, we can talk slowly. It's still early, isn't it? For the underground fights that would only start late at night every day, it was indeed very early. However, for normal people, 12 o'clock was already considered not early. However, this was other people's territory, so Yi-Fala couldn't say anything. She smiled and didn't say anything. She wanted to hear what Guanpeng wanted to do. How is it? Do you think my place is not bad? Guanpeng pointed at his miniature version of the Roman Colosseum and said proudly. Yi-Fala nodded, still smiling but didn't say anything. I know that all these years, you people who cultivate the mind have always looked down on us underground fighters. However, I still have to say that the underground fighters under me are definitely not weaker than those so-called experts of yours. Guanpeng said, sooner or later, I will let you all know that underground fighters are not to be trifled with. Second brother, I have never meant to look down on underground fighters. Yi-Fala said, those who look down on you all are people who have no vision. Don't you think so? I have always respected you all. There is no lack of experts among the underground fighters. Hearing Yi-Fala speak so well, Guanpeng felt a burst of joy in his heart. However, he changed the topic. Yi-Fala, anyone can say beautiful words. Do you really think so? Of course. Yi-Fala spoke the truth. Then why do you always reject me? Guanpeng's expression became serious. In fact, you only say that. However, in the true sense, you still have a prejudice against my identity. You think that an underground fighter is not worthy of you. Is that right? Yi-Fala helplessly sighed. Second brother, I remember that I told you a long time ago that matters of the heart shouldn't be talked about like this. I didn't accept you not because you are an underground fighter, but because of my feelings. I remember what you said at that time. You said that as long as you have feelings, even if it is an ordinary person, you will love them without hesitation. Guanpeng said affectionately. Yes. I did say that. Yi-Fala said. Guanpeng's face sank. But in the end, you are still entangled with an underground world expert who cultivates the mind. To put it bluntly, you definitely won't fall for an ordinary person. Your choice is still an expert who cultivates the mind. Am I right? This has nothing to do with that. Yi-Fala's voice also became unyielding. Second brother, I didn't come to see you today to talk to you about this. I just want to ask you one thing. Were you the one who arranged for the explosion in my hotel? Guanpeng's gaze met Yi-Fala's, but he didn't open his mouth to speak. Chapter 984. Guanpeng was silent for about 3 minutes. Finally, he lost in the confrontation with Yi-Fala. He turned his head, lit another cigar, took a deep puff, and enjoyed the leisurely feeling of being surrounded by smoke. What's wrong? You don't dare to answer? Yi-Fala provoked. Or are you admitting to it? Yi-Zi, a man dares to take responsibility for his actions. Guanpeng said while smoking the cigar. I won't deny the things I've done. That's something only the Japanese would do. Second brother, I dare to take responsibility for my actions. There's nothing I don't dare to do, and there's nothing I don't dare to admit. The matter at your hotel was indeed arranged by me. Yi-Fala took a deep breath. Although she already knew that this matter was true when Su-Yin told her the name, she still subconsciously hoped that Guanpeng would say no. Yi-Fala understood Guanpeng. Guanpeng wouldn't lie. If he said no, it would make Yi-Fala feel better. Are you crazy? Don't you know that this kind of thing is very dangerous? What's the difference between this and a terrorist attack? You're taking human lives as a joke. Yi-Fala said. If the police find you, the police can't find me. Guanpeng directly interrupted Yi-Fala's words. This bomb wasn't obtained from the black market. They can't find any clues. Yi-Fala snorted. Indeed, it wasn't bought from the black market. But don't naively think that you're the only one in the world who knows about Sikong Yi. Guanpeng's eyebrows suddenly twisted. How did you know? Do you think that I'm just randomly guessing, so I guess that you did this? Yi Fala said, second brother, I'm not as smart as you think. Guanpeng's smile was somewhat cold. It seems that Sikongyi isn't trustworthy. He swore to my people that he wouldn't reveal this matter. But I don't understand. I didn't show up from the beginning to the end. How did you find me? Did my people betray me? Second brother, although your people won't betray you, you should understand that there's no wall in the world that doesn't have a crack. Yi Fala said. As long as you do it, others will know. This can never be stopped. Unless you kill him to silence him. Guanpeng nodded. I do regret not killing Sikongyi. Ha ha ha, but it doesn't matter. It's good that you know. I don't plan on hiding it from you for the rest of my life. Why? Yi Fala didn't understand. She didn't have any hatred or resentment towards Guanpeng. Because I don't like the guy you like. After Guanpeng finished speaking, he sneered. I sent someone to investigate him. He hid quite well. Suyin. What a good Suyin. Then you shouldn't have let people blow up the people in my hotel. Yi Fala was a little angry. As far as I know, the injured ones are called Ruan Qingshuang and Chou Yun. Guanpeng didn't blame himself at all. Instead, he said it very casually. Easy, these two women are related to Su Yin, right? If you like that kid so much, I'm doing you a favor. What do you think? Yi Fala helplessly shook her head. I think you should see a psychiatrist. Guanpeng, if you have any opinions about me, just come at me. Don't bring disaster to others. You should know what I hate the most in my life. Guanpeng still didn't care. Yi, what do I have to do for you to understand me? That kid surnamed Su doesn't care about you. The one who really cares about you is me. Second brother, even I find it funny when I hear what you're saying. Yi Fala said. If you still want us to be friends, then take back your stupid words. Don't do these stupid things in the future. I will think of a way to stop Su Yin from finding trouble with you. But if you don't realize your mistake, if I don't realize my mistake, can that kid cripple me? Guanpeng sneered. Yi, you overestimate him and underestimate me. Yi Fala didn't want to waste time. I've said so much. You're on your own. Yi, since you've said so, I'm afraid I can't let you go. Guanpeng sighed. It's not that I want to be rough with you. I want to see how that kid surnamed Su treats you. You're so affectionate and righteous to him. I'm sure you want to test it too, right? I'm not as senseless as you. Yi Fala said. Second brother, you should know my strength. If you want to stop me, I'm afraid you'll need to put in some effort. Guanpeng smiled mysteriously. Of course, I've already made preparations. I know that ordinary people can't stop you. So even though there's no boxing match today, all of my boxers are here. As soon as Guanpeng's voice fell, the underground boxers who had been lying on the seats around the arena all sat up. There were dozens of people, and there was no lack of new and old underground boxing champions. Because they were all lying down, Yi Fala couldn't see them at all. Now that so many people suddenly sat up and surrounded her, the shock was quite big. Second brother, you've really perfectly explained to me what it means to be on guard against others. Yi Fala said indifferently. In fact, there was no need for so many people. The strength of the underground boxing champions was already very strong. They were completely confident in dealing with first-rate experts like her. Guanpeng gathered everyone because he wanted to show off his imposing manner. That kind of overwhelming momentum made him feel an indescribable carefree feeling in his heart. I'm not guarding against you, Yi, Guanpeng said. I'm worried that the kid surnamed Su will come with you. I don't want others to show off their strength. I want to show off my strength even more. He. It's just that second brother didn't expect that guy to actually let you come alone. It seems that he still doesn't care about you. Second brother, because we have some friendship, I don't want to give you up. Yi Fala said. I advise you to stop here and treat it as giving me face. Let's let this matter turn into a small matter, and end it forever. Guanpeng shook his head, very slowly shaking his head. This matter can never be turned into a small matter. It will only get bigger and bigger. Are you really crazy? Yi Fala's patience was almost exhausted. Guanpeng opened his eyes wide and said complacently, Yi, I really want to see what kind of expression that kid will have when he finds out that you've been captured. If he really treats you well, I'll accept it. I'm just afraid that he doesn't care about you at all. Now second brother will test him for you. Guanping, what do you mean? Yi Fala's face revealed a hint of nervousness. What do you want to do? I'm just keeping you here as a guest. Guanpeng's smile was filled with evil. Yi Fala knew that she was in trouble. She definitely couldn't leave even if she wanted to. But she had to think of a way to inform Su Yun, and not let Su Yun be fooled. Don't worry, you're a guest. I'll arrange for someone to inform the kid surnamed Su, Guanpeng said. If he cares about you, he'll definitely come to save you. If he doesn't, then you don't have to care about him anymore. Don't you think so? Chapter 985. Yi Fala's sudden disappearance happened at such a critical moment, so Su Yun naturally couldn't be at ease. When the phone couldn't be connected, Su Yun could at least find Qinwan and try to find the location of the tracking device. After all, Yi Fala was still serving her sentence outside the prison, so the tracking device could accurately determine her location. However, what made Su Yun and Qinwan unprepared was that before they could find someone to check, the police had already paid them a visit. They had lost contact with Yi Fala's tracking device for 8 hours. Because the police knew about Yi Fala's situation, they believed that she wouldn't cause trouble for them and wouldn't destroy the tracking device to escape. They came early in the morning to check if there was a problem with the device, so they didn't think that Yi Fala would be in Xinkai Hotel. Yi Fala's disappearance was definitely a big deal. Whether it was to the police or to Su Yun and the others, they were all caught off guard. If Yi Fala was found by the police after being missing for more than 48 hours, she would be suspected of trying to escape from prison. It might even affect her current situation. If she was sued, she might even go back to prison. Qinwan frowned. Where could she go? Su Yun said seriously, we all know Yi Fala. She wouldn't do that kind of thing. You try to buy some time with the leader. I'll think of a way to find Yi Fala. She must have met with some trouble. She definitely wouldn't joke with us about her disappearance. Obviously, the structure of the third floor of Qintai Hotel was quite solid. Once the secret door was closed, it directly cut off any signal. Wan Qingshuang was also quite anxious. There were so many troubles in the past few days. Other than the good news that Su Yun brought Guogua back, everything else they met with was so unsatisfactory. What did you say to Yi Fala yesterday? Can you find any clues? Wan Qingshuang asked. Su Yun was startled. They only talked about the person called Guanpeng, but Yi Fala said that he was ignorant and had never heard of him. Could it be that Yi Fala was lying? Was she trying to hide something? Recalling Yi Fala's expression, Su Yun regretted his carelessness. Intuition told Su Yun that this matter had something to do with Guanpeng. No matter what reason Yi Fala had for lying, Su Yun was still very annoyed. He wasn't angry that Yi Fala had lied to him, but he was worried that Yi Fala would encounter some danger. If that happened, it would be really troublesome. I'll try my best to buy you some time. Qinwan said. But you have to be quick. It would be best if you could find Yi Fala within 48 hours to avoid unnecessary trouble. Su Yun nodded, and Qinwan left with the police officers. These words were simple to say, and it was also simple to agree to, but it was not simple at all to actually do it. Su Yun was completely at a loss. Where was he going to find him? So what if they knew that Yi Fala's disappearance was related to Guanpeng? Su Yun had no idea who Guanpeng was, where he was, his age, whether he was married or not. All he knew was his name. Brother, this matter is really not easy to deal with. Lin Go also realized that this matter was troublesome because Si Kongye didn't know anything. He couldn't find a breakthrough point from him. Kevin Matthew shrugged helplessly. I really can't help with this matter. Brother Yin, I'm really sorry. Su Yin was embarrassed to accept these words. Kevin Matthew had already helped him a lot. Matthew, I know that you must have something to do in Huaxia, and you need my help. But when you arrived in Huaxia and saw that I was entangled in so many trivial matters, you were too embarrassed to ask. I'm really sorry. We're friends, don't be so formal. Kevin Matthew said. I can't help with this matter, but don't be distracted by my matters. I will think of a way to deal with my matters. If I really need you, I will not hesitate to ask. Now is not the time to worry about me. Now was indeed not the time to worry about Kevin Matthew. To put it more seriously, it was unknown whether Yi Fala was dead or alive. Brother Yin, there was someone at the door who said that he wanted to see you. I asked him to come in, but he didn't want to. Dan Jiahao ran in front of everyone while panting. I said that if you don't go in, Brother Yin won't come out to see him. But he said that if you don't go out to see him, you will be the one who will regret it. It's related to a life. Regardless of whether that guy was exaggerating or not, I felt a little scared, so I came to say. Without listening to Dan Jiahao's words, Su Yin strode out of the hotel. His intuition told him that if someone came to look for him at this time, it definitely had something to do with Yi Fala's disappearance. That person didn't come in because he was worried that he would be captured and tortured. If there was something, he would say it at the door, so he could escape. Seeing Su Yin go out, Lin Ge followed closely behind. Everyone realized that something was wrong, and wanted to follow. Ruan Qingshuang raised her hand to stop them. It's meaningless for all of you to go. If Su Yin needs help, he will naturally tell you. Everyone, be patient and wait. Don't add to Su Yin's troubles at this time. He should be annoyed enough. These words made sense. Everyone stopped in their tracks, and waited for Su Yin to bring them news from afar. Su Yin and Lin Gu arrived at the hotel's entrance. In front of them was a 1'9" tall burly man who weighed 150 kilograms. His eyes lit up. You are Su Yin? You shouldn't be Guanpeng, right? Su Yin narrowed his eyes. If he angered Su Yin at this time, the consequences would be unimaginable. The burly man grinned. Who do you think second brother is? Who would casually come to see you? I'm here to pass a message on behalf of second brother. If you want to see Miss Yi, go to Qingtai Hotel at 11 p.m. tonight. At that time you will naturally see Miss Yi. Qingtai Hotel? Su Yin knew that the second brother this guy was talking about was Guanpeng. He called Yi Fala Miss Yi. Obviously, he still had a certain amount of respect for Yi Fala. Yi Fala and Guanpeng must have some friendship. Don't worry, Miss Yi is fine now. The burly man didn't wait for Su Yin to speak and continued. But if you want Miss Yi to come back, you have to talk to my second brother. Otherwise, go back and tell Guanpeng that I will be there on time. Su Yin didn't continue to listen to his nonsense. There is no medicine for regret in this world. Even if I hurt a strand of Yi Fala's hair, I will make him pay it back 10-fold, 100-fold. Straightforward person. The burly man sneered. Looking at Su Yin's frail and weak body, he said with disdain. However, if you want to touch second brother, I'm afraid it won't be that easy. Ha 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 ha. I'll wait for you tonight. Remember to be punctual. Otherwise, no one knows what will happen. Su Yin clenched his fists until his veins were about to explode. He wanted to ruthlessly punch this blockhead's face, but in the end he restrained himself. Whatever old and new grudges, Su Yin would settle them all at night. There's one more thing. Only you are allowed to come. If there is anyone else, second brother won't see you. After the burly man finished speaking, he deliberately glanced at Lin Ge. Lin Ge spat on the ground and scolded, "Coward." Chapter 986. Lin Ge clenched his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter as he watched the car disappear into the distance. Brother, we shouldn't have let that bastard go back. We should have taught him a lesson and shown him who's boss. Let them be so arrogant again. Pigeon, can you tell what this person does? Su Yin's gaze never left the car that was leaving. Lin Ge was startled for a moment and scratched his head. Sikong Yi said that they're in the fitness industry. I think that makes some sense. With such a big body, they should be in the fitness industry. Those in the fitness industry wouldn't do this kind of thing. There's a group of people like them who need high-intensity body training every day, but they're not fitness trainers. Su Yin took a deep breath. Underground fighters. They don't pay attention to chi cultivation or mental state improvement. They only pay attention to martial strength and fists. Underground fighters. Lin Ge suddenly realized. That's right, why didn't he think of it? Although this group of people were never called experts, if they were strong and reached the peak of martial strength, They definitely wouldn't be weaker than experts who cultivated mental state. They might even be stronger than experts who cultivated mental state. Dual cultivation of mental state and martial strength was called the right path for experts. Underground fighters who only cultivated martial strength were always looked down upon. This was why the underground fighters were often ignored by the underground world. Even people like Guanpeng weren't famous in the underground world. Su Yun could finally explain why he felt that he had heard of Guanpeng's name before, but didn't have any impression of it. Underground fighters were always like this. People couldn't remember them and habitually ignored their existence. Brother, if that's the case, we definitely can't let you go alone at night. Lin Ge reacted and decisively put forward his idea. If they have a lot of people, it really won't be easy to deal with them. Su Yun obviously knew this simple logic. Apart from this, do we have any other methods? They said that they want me to go alone. If I don't keep my word, they might also be untrustworthy. I won't take the risk before I'm sure Yifala is safe. Even if I don't go with you, at least I have to be nearby. If anything happens, we can contact each other immediately, Lin Ge said. If I'm not wrong, Chin Tai Hotel must have a very good sealed space for the competition. Su Yun. If it was so easy to contact him, I'm afraid that the locator on Yifala's ankle would have been found by the police long ago. It was too dangerous to do this alone. But Su Yun had already made up his mind. Lin Ge couldn't change anything. Don't mention this to Sister Shuang and the others for now. There's no point in letting too many people know. It will only increase the worry of one more person. Su Yun. Don't worry, I will be careful. Those underground fighters are able to control Yifala, so they are naturally not weak. I will treat them with caution. But don't forget, if you only cultivate martial arts without cultivating your mental state, you won't be a match for dual cultivation. I'm not that easy to deal with. These words were true. Su Yun was definitely not that easy to deal with. A 5th-level master of the Grandmaster realm, if he wanted to deal with Su Yun with just martial arts, unless his martial arts were 2 levels higher than Su Yun's, it would be very difficult to hurt Su Yun without the use of internal force. Brother, then you must be careful, Lin Ge said. Don't worry, I'll be here at the hotel. I won't let anyone hurt anyone. Su Yun smiled slightly. Although it was better to be careful, Su Yun believed that the hotel wouldn't be in any danger. He had already realized a problem. The other party's spearhead was pointed at him. Not the hotel, not Yifala, and not Ruan Qingshuang or Chou Yun. It was him. Kevin Matthew wanted to help Su Yun deal with the problem before he went to do his own thing. However, he couldn't help at all now. Staying here would make Su Yun feel inconvenient, so it was better for him to leave first. When Su Yun heard Kevin Matthew ask this question, he knew that Kevin Matthew had asked it after careful consideration. Since that was the case, he didn't pretend to be polite and directly arranged a glorious and difficult task for Chang. As long as Kevin Matthew was in Huaxia, Chang had to do a good job of receiving him. Chang naturally obeyed the order to be a good driver. Kevin Matthew felt that this was quite troublesome for Chang. However, he also considered that if he didn't let Su Yun do something, Su Yun would feel that he owed him. Moreover, he saw that Chang was extremely enthusiastic and wasn't pretending. He sincerely treated him a guest from afar, so he agreed readily. This made Su Yun feel relieved. Although Chang wasn't a professional driver, he was born and raised in Huaxia. He was definitely more familiar with the roads in Huaxia than Kevin Matthew. Moreover, he could adapt to the traffic jams better. Kevin Matthew was going to Yanjing. This kind of place needed a Huaxia person to be a driver. Otherwise, Kevin Matthew, who was used to the smooth traffic, would definitely break down when he arrived in Yanjing. That place could let you see that a 20-lane wide road could still be blocked for 1 or 2 hours without any discussion. Kevin Matthew was going to visit an old friend of his father's. This relationship was very important to him, so he didn't want to waste too much time. This was because he had already received news from some of his friends that this old friend of his father's might not have many days left. If Kevin Matthew went a day later, he wouldn't be able to see him for the last time. Those questions from his father would really rot in his stomach. After this matter was decided, Kevin Matthew immediately left. He acted decisively and swiftly. Su-yin could only wish him a safe journey. He hoped that he could settle Yi-Fala's matter as soon as possible, so that he could help Kevin Matthew as soon as possible. On that day, other than Kevin Matthew leaving, Guan Qingshuang and Chou Yun also left Xinjiang with Guogua. Of course, this was also Su-Yun's intention. Su-Yun still couldn't determine what Guan Peng's intentions were. It was better to let Guan Qingshuang and Chou Yun bring Guogua to Jibei. At least Guan Peng could arrange everything properly in Jibei. Su-Yun wouldn't have to worry about them. If it was in the past, Guan Qingshuang would definitely disagree. However, it was different now. She firmly believed that since Su-Yin had decided, he must have his reasons. If she stayed, not only would she not be of help, but she would also distract Lin Ge from taking care of them. If she brought Guogua further away, at least Lin Ge could focus on helping Su-Yin. Although Su-Yin had already decided to go alone, Lin Ge lurking around Qintai Hotel was better than staying in Xinkai to protect them. "Oh right, Pigeon, where's your little girlfriend, Fangya? Do you want her to come with us to Jibei to rest for a few days?" Guan Qingshuang suddenly asked. On the day Guan Qingshuang was discharged from the hospital, Fangya just had her turn to rest. After learning about the situation from Lin Ge, she came to see her. Lin Ge understood Guan Qingshuang's meaning. She was also afraid that Fangya would become a bargaining chip for the enemy. She hoped to keep Fangya away from danger. This way Lin Ge wouldn't be distracted. Lin Ge was so grateful that he was about to cry. He also hoped that Fangya could integrate into their social circle, so he contacted Fangya. Fangya was very excited about this invitation because she knew very well what kind of person Guan Qingshuang was. Fangya could read Lin Ji's respect for this sister-in-law from his eyes. Guan Qingshuang invited her, which meant that she treated her as one of her own. How could Fangya not be excited? Chapter 987. 200 meters away from the Qintai Hotel, Lin Ji's gaze never left Su-Yun's figure. This was already within the observation range of the Qintai Hotel. Su-Yun didn't want to complicate matters, so Lin Ge could only wait here obediently. Unless there was a special situation, he could only wait and see. Just as Su-Yun approached the Qintai Hotel, two tall and sturdy fellows walked towards him. Su-Yun recognized that one of them was the man who sent him the invitation today. "Boss Su is really punctual. You're not even a minute late." The corner of the tall and sturdy man's mouth raised. That kind of condescending aura was completely different from before because Su-Yun was now in their territory. If Su-Yun dared to cause any trouble, then he wouldn't be afraid. Just a greeting could exchange for more than 10 brothers. Cut the crap. Where's Yi-Fala? Su-Yun didn't have the time to talk nonsense with them. The tall and sturdy man extended his hand and made an inviting gesture. "Please. Second brother is also a punctual person. I've been waiting for you for a long time. There's something I want to remind you. Once you enter, you have to behave. As the saying goes, nothing can be accomplished without rules. If you don't follow the rules, then don't blame us brothers for being ruthless." He started to threaten before he even entered the door? Su-Yun coldly snorted. It seemed like this second brother wanted to show off his power from the beginning. Su-Yun didn't care what kind of scheme you had. He would definitely accompany you to the end. If you want to play, then I'll accompany you to play. Whoever admits defeat is a grandson. You have your rules. I have my bottom line. Su-Yun coldly sneered. You better tell your brothers that if they touch my bottom line, then don't blame me for being impolite. Okay. Then we'll see. When the tall and sturdy man heard Su-Yun's threat, he was naturally unhappy. He was obviously only one person, yet he was so domineering and arrogant. What qualifications did he have? The route was completely out of Su-Yun's expectations. They came to a corner of the hotel's underground parking lot. After entering the inconspicuous elevator, they could actually go down one floor. Su-Yun was startled for a moment. Only then did he understand that the underground boxing competition was actually arranged in such a secretive place. With a ding-dong sound, the elevator door slowly opened. Su-Yun walked out of the elevator under the lead of the two tall and sturdy men, followed by a long corridor. There was a door at the end of the corridor. Su-Yun knew that was his destination. Since we've arrived, we won't be sending you off. The burly man behind Su Yun sneered. Second brother is waiting for you in front. Su Yun was too lazy to talk nonsense. He directly strode forward. This second brother was really pretentious. Wasn't it just an appointment to have a showdown and negotiation? Why did he have to make so much fuss? Even if he was shooting a movie, he didn't need to be so indecisive. A black shadow suddenly blocked Su Yun's path. The tall and sturdy man standing at the front of the corridor had a provocative look on his face. Excuse me. Su Yun didn't want to dirty his hands at the beginning. Didn't you see that my shoelaces are untied? I'm afraid it's not convenient to walk. If you want me to move aside, sure. Help me tie my shoelaces and I'll move aside. Such a straightforward provocation was simply looking down on Su Yun's IQ. Su Yun suppressed his anger several times, but in the end he couldn't bear it anymore. It wasn't that he didn't want to dirty his hands. A fist as fast as lightning tore through the quiet air. The tall and sturdy man who hadn't even tied his shoelaces was sent flying by Su Yun's punch. Since the other party wanted to show him who was the boss, Su Yun didn't have to hesitate. Counterattack. Therefore, Su Yun used all his strength in this punch. As a black boxer, his body's resistance to attacks was naturally very strong. Even if he used all his strength, as long as Su Yun didn't activate his internal force, he wouldn't be able to kill him. The huge body of 300 Jin shot through the corridor like a cannonball. With a bang, it smashed through the door at the end of the corridor. The few tall and sturdy men who were still standing in the corridor were dumbfounded. They didn't expect Su Yun to have such overwhelming strength. They weren't his match at all. Frantic shouts and screams could be heard from behind the door. Su Yun's brows instantly furrowed. Through the door, he could see the flickering lights of the spectator stands, as well as the center of the battle stage that was the center of attention. The entire circular stage was surrounded by thick steel bars. Inside, there was a short-haired muscular man in black shorts who was frantically beating his chest and roaring. If you want to see second brother, then you have to defeat today's champion, Feng Leilong. As he spoke, the two tall and sturdy men behind Su Yun pressed some unknown mechanism. A thick iron wall fell down behind Su Yun. There was no way back now. There was only one path forward. This was the path to the stage. The people who wanted to show Su Yun who was the boss in the corridor all carefully retreated. They had already learned their lesson. If they continued, they would be fools. Obviously, they didn't want to be fools. The guy who was sent flying by Su Yun broke through the door and fell directly into the stage. He was already dizzy from the fall. But Feng Leilong didn't care if he was still breathing. He directly bent down and picked him up. His arms were raised above his head, and he suddenly threw him high up. Just as everyone was wondering what he was going to do, Feng Leilong had already jumped up. His knee mercilessly hit the poor guy who was abandoned. With a hair-raising cracking sound, that poor guy's entire body was broken in an inconceivable manner. His lumbar spine was probably crippled. The fate of underground fighters was cruel. The weak were prey to the strong. Every year, countless weak people were tortured to death in this way, innumerable. But those who liked underground fighting didn't think so. Seeing such a bloody and cruel scene, the audience in the stands cheered even louder. That's right, they came here to see Feng Leilong torture those useless guys. This local underground boxer, who was called Xinjiang Bulldog by the underground boxing world, was the pride of the audience. They liked to see him defeat his opponents. They liked to bet on his victory because they knew that Feng Leilong didn't like to disappoint his supporters. Feng Leilong hadn't fought in Xinjiang for a long time. He was arranged by his second brother to fight outside. But today was different. Today was his home ground. He had to defend it. Ladies and gentlemen, the host held the microphone and started. Today we will arrange a wonderful challenge for everyone. The champion is still our favorite Xinjiang Bulldog Feng Leilong. The challenger is Su Yun. Let's place our bets now. Feng Leilong's odds are 1-1. Su Yun's odds are 500. F***ck. Su Yun really wanted to spit on him. Looking down on me? 1-500. F***ck. Is my chance of winning that low? Su Yun, if you want to see Yifala, then win this match. A sentence came from the top of his head. Su Yun looked up. It was a loudspeaker. He didn't know if the person who spoke was his second brother, Guan Peng. But Su Yun knew that since he was here, he couldn't retreat. Chapter 988. The monitor on the stage showed the amount of bets placed. Su Yun and Feng Leilong's names had a yellow bar above them. The more people who placed their bets, the longer the bar would be. Every spectator had an electronic betting machine and swiped their card. The betting here was quite high-tech. In just a few minutes, the yellow bar under Feng Leilong's name was filled with bets. The number displayed on the screen was still increasing. Thousands of spectators had participated in the bet. In just a few short minutes, the bet had reached more than 1 billion. On average, everyone's bets were as high as 1 million. Those who bet on underground fights were indeed rich. What was embarrassing was that the yellow bar above Su Yun's name was not even 1 millimeter long. The number was also a duck egg. This kind of disparity in bets was definitely one of a kind in the world. No one was optimistic about Su Yun. The difference between him and Feng Fuyolong was not only the name of the underground boxing world, but also the figure. Anyway, as long as it was a normal person, they would not believe that Su Yun could win. If the fight ended and Feng Leilong won, wouldn't Guan Peng lose his pants? Even if the odds were 1-to-1, he would still lose more than 1 billion. This was not a small number. Unless he had arranged for Feng Leilong to fake the fight and let Su Yun win, then he would win. No, that's not right. That's impossible. Su Yun isn't their pawn. Guan Peng could not be that crazy, right? Would he just let it happen? It did not matter even if he lost. Su Yun took a deep breath. Guan Peng probably did not care. If Feng Leilong could beat Su Yun to death, it would not matter even if he lost 1 billion. He would just find a way to fake a few fights to win it back. These days, even the World Cup could be manipulated, let alone underground fights. It was normal to manipulate people behind the scenes. If Su Yun really beat Feng Leilong, it meant that he had earned 1 billion for Guan Peng. Damn, Su Yun was not willing to accept this. He did not even have to pay a single cent to come here. Then Feng Leilong should be able to earn at least 1 million in a single match, right? Damn that Guan Peng. He was really scheming. Killing many birds with one stone. The noisy crowd was waiting for Su Yun to come out and be killed by Feng Fuyo as soon as possible. This was the only way to ensure that they would be able to get their money back. No one placed a bet on Su Yun, so when Su Yun walked out, he was greeted with boos. After a long period of earth-shattering boos, Su Yun finally understood why people in sports competitions wanted to have the home field advantage. The away audience was really too nasty. The boos and curses almost provoked Su Yun to jump directly into the stands and give these people a good beating. Finally, Su Yun walked into the thick cage. With a bang, the cage closed. Su Yun and Feng Leilong were like two trapped beasts. Once again, the audience erupted into thunderous cheers. Quiet down. Suddenly, a voice came from the microphone. Next, let's invite Brother Guan to speak to us. Everyone, let's welcome him. Guan Peng's reputation here was definitely enough. With just one sentence, the entire audience burst into applause. Not a single person was not sincere. Cough. Guan Peng cleared his throat. The audience instantly quieted down. Then he slowly said, I've told everyone before that today, I'll bring everyone a match with a great disparity in strength. Since everyone has bet on our Xinjiang Bulldogs' victory, if something unexpected happens, there will definitely be people who will accuse me of manipulating things behind the scenes. After a pause, he continued. Therefore, I've decided that the victory of this match must end with the death of one of the two. That way, no one will have any objections. The audience erupted again. However, Feng Leilong was not as excited in the cage. He suddenly realized that something was wrong. All the bets were on him. It seemed that his opponent had no chance of winning. But the more it was like this, the more Feng Leilong felt that something was wrong. As soon as Guan Peng finished speaking, the bet went from 1 billion to 2 billion. The huge profit and compensation of this match was astronomical. Guan Peng was not a saint. He would not easily pay out so much money. Feng Leilong was nervous. Could it be that Guan Peng wanted to use him to make money? But there was no need to end it with a death match. Brother, do you think Guan Peng will be happy if you win and make him pay so much money? Su Yin let out a long sigh and whispered to Feng Leilong. Can't you see that he's using you to make a fortune? Cut the crap. Even if that's the case, I have to protect my life. Feng Leilong sneered. The more unfavorable the situation was, the more he had to calm down. Even if second brother wants to use me to make money, he has to find someone who can defeat me. With just you, I'm afraid it won't be easy for him to make so much money. Su Yin nodded. That's true. I really don't want him to make so much money. Why don't we have a private conversation now? Question mark. Feng Leilong was stunned. You pretend to kill me and I'll pretend to be dead in the ring. Su Yin said. Not only can we save your life, we can also make Guan Peng pay a heavy price. Feng Leilong's eyes widened. Are you crazy? I don't have time to play house with you. It's not like I don't have the ability to kill you. Why should I waste my time with you? You really don't know what's good for you. I'm just being nice. Su Yin. If you think you have the ability, then come and try. Clang. 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 A long-legged beauty in a white bikini walked around the steel cage of the boxing ring, holding a sign with the number 1 printed on it. The crazy audience below the stage began to roar at the top of their lungs. Everyone was cheering for Feng Leilong and their Xinjiang bulldog. Feng Leilong roared. He believed that second brother would definitely tell him if it was done under the table. But this time he didn't say anything. He just told him to fight well. This meant that he needed to win the match. He had to kill this little bastard. Feng Leilong's huge body pounced on Su Yin like a crazy brown bear. Although Su Yin was smaller than Feng Leilong, he had the advantage in his footwork. He was much more agile than Feng Leilong. Feng Leilong was furious when he didn't succeed. He hit his chest again to regain his composure. He wanted to end the match quickly. Once he used up too much energy, it wouldn't be easy to deal with his opponent. Su Yin knew that no matter how much he warned them, it would be useless. He might as well have a proper fight to wake them up from their dark martial arts. He wanted to let them know that a mere martial arts cultivator would not be able to stop them who cultivated their mental states. In the blink of an eye, Su Yin struck Feng Fuyolong's lower abdomen with lightning speed. The moment Feng Fuyolong bent over in pain, Su Yin leaped up and chopped at the back of Feng Fuyolong's neck. If Feng Leilong's muscles hadn't been petrified, this chop would have knocked him out. Although Feng Fuyo could still hold on, the pain was unbearable. He wanted to fight back, but Su Yin did not give him the chance. Su Yin followed up with 3 kicks, sending Feng Fuyo back a few meters. Feng Fuyo only stopped when he crashed into the iron cage. After a few moves, Feng Leilong didn't gain any advantage. On the other hand, Su Yin was playing with ease. Chapter 989. Dang 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 dang. The bell signaling the end of the first round rang. The two walked to the opposite corner of the ring under the referee's guidance. Feng Fuyo had never felt so difficult before. It had only been 1 round, but he had used up most of his energy. The sweat on his forehead slid down the corners of his eyes and dripped onto the boxing ring beneath his feet. In this ring, Feng Fuyolong held the record of all wins. He was known as the Xinjiang Bulldog for a reason. In this ring of Qintai Hotel, there was no fighter who wasn't afraid of him biting. Bulldogs had been used in bloody bullfights since the middle of the 12th century. Feng Leilong's nickname explained everything. He had become an underground boxer at the age of 12. He had participated in hundreds of fights, big and small. In Xinjiang City, he had never admitted defeat to anyone. Even if he had to risk his life, Feng Fuyolong would never let the guy sitting in front of him leave the ring. He wanted everyone to know that they would still support him as always. No matter how bad the situation was, the final winner would still be him. He vowed to protect his Xinjiang winning streak. Guanpeng didn't lack strong fighters, but no one had fought in Xinjiang as many fights as Feng Fuyolong. Maybe there were people who were stronger than Feng Fuyolong, but Feng Fuyolong was like a spiritual pillar in Xinjiang's underground boxing world. As long as the people in Xinjiang saw him on the ring, they would never think that he would lose. The frenzied cheers and shouts incessantly stimulated Feng Fuyolong's adrenaline. As soon as the bell rang for the second round, and before the scantily clad girls could even complete a lap around the ring, Feng Fuyolong jumped up with a whoosh. Underground boxing wasn't the same as serious boxing. There was no coach to guide them. They couldn't become a beautiful girl like Boxing King Zhou and play a guest role in Transformation 4. The choice of an underground fighter was simple. Either win the fight and get more money and the boss trust, lose and be spurned by the boss, or die. Su Yun licked his lips. The girl holding the sign was so beautiful and her figure was so enchanting. Of all the things she could do, she just had to be a beauty embellishment in such a barbaric and bloody place. What a waste. Of course, if Su Yun knew how much money he could earn from this event, he would definitely not think that way. How could an ordinary woman do such a job? Second round. Begin. Following the referee's order, Feng Fuyo, who had just recovered some of his strength, once again charged towards Su Yun. This time, Su Yun did not dodge. Instead, he received Feng Fuyolong's powerful punch with a single palm. Borrowing the strength of Fuyolong's force, Su Yun used his own strength to restrain Feng Fuyolong. Feng Fuyolong's huge body was thrown onto the cage with a loud clang. The entire place became silent again. Feng Fuyo roared angrily, his hands almost bent the iron cage. He roared angrily and pounced on Su Yun again. Su Yun's feet seemed to be rooted to the ground. He had no intention of dodging at all. His firm footwork and sudden movements made everyone nervous. Just as Feng Fuyo was about to pounce on Su Yun turned his footwork forward into a horse stance. Then he used the strength of the horse stance to punch from the bottom up. His fists were extremely fast, and his knuckles were aimed at Feng Fuyo's heart. In literature, there was Taiji to calm the world. In martial arts, there was Baji to stabilize the universe. Su Yun's moves were simple and straightforward. The heavenly standing cannon sent Feng Fuyo's body, which weighed more than 150 kilograms, flying several meters away. This time, the impact even bent the cage that restrained the boxing ring. Feng Fuyo, who had landed heavily on the ground, struggled to get up. However, the pain in his heart made it difficult for him to support his body. He spat out a mouthful of blood when he tried to get up. The weakest part of a black boxer's body was obviously the heart meridian, which was the weakest part of his body. Once their strong muscles were unable to resist the attack of external forces, they would be in extreme pain. Su Yun did not follow up with another attack. He only needed to step forward and punch Feng Fuyo. He was afraid that Feng Fuyo would not be able to hold on. Compared to the bright boxing ring, the stands were dark. In the darkness, Guanpeng's lips curled up slightly. He thought that this kid with the surname Su was not simple. Speaking of Feng Fuyo, although he was not the most valued fighter under him, Guanpeng trusted his strength. Even the top fighters in the underground world would not be able to gain any advantage over Feng Fuyo. But now, Feng Leilong couldn't even gain the slightest advantage in front of Su Yun. This brat was really not simple. No wonder even Yi Fala's heart was captured by him. Kill. 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 It was unknown who led the crowd, but they all shouted at the same time. Perhaps everyone was aware of a problem. It was impossible for Feng Fuyo to win. They had lost all their money because of him. This was the most realistic problem. The anger made people forget that Feng Fuyo was the pride of Xinjiang's underground fighters. It made them forget that this guy had the nickname Xinjiang Bulldog. At this moment, Feng Fuyo was like an abandoned dog. No one would pity him, no one would pity him. Everyone would only be angry and crazy because he had caused them to lose so much money. Perhaps, at this moment, only his death could calm the emotions of these people who had lost all their money. This feeling of abandoning a fallen tree made Feng Fuolong understand a truth. A local underground boxer had to have value to be used. Once he lost his value, no one would treat him as a human. At this moment, he had an impulse to kill all these sanctimonious hypocrites in the stands. He had even forgotten that many times, the opponents he faced would also be shouted "kill" by the people in the stands. And he had never been lenient because of this. It was just that this time his position was reversed. But he didn't want to die. He hadn't been able to enjoy life. He had spent all his time training and competing. He hadn't had time to experience other things. Listen to me if you don't want to die. A soft voice floated into Feng Fuyo's ears. Feng Fuyo quickly raised his head. Standing in front of him was Su Yun. Was this guy not going to kill him? But before this, he had wanted Su Yun to die. If he, Feng Fulong, won't be merciful enough to let Su Yun go. Did you hear that? Squeak if you heard it. Don't play dead, Su Yun said again. Feng Fuyo didn't want to die. He had everything as long as he was alive. Of course I don't want to die. As long as you don't kill me, I'll do whatever you want. How many fighters like you are here? Su Yun added. Those who are stronger than you. Don't count those who are weaker than you. This isn't the time to be arrogant. You better tell the truth. Feng Fuyo gritted his teeth and thought. 4. The 4 great warriors. Su Yun nodded. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you'll never be defeated. He had a rough idea. When the fight started, he would know what to do. It seems like your second brother didn't plan to let you live from the beginning. Otherwise, he wouldn't have arranged for you to fight. It was impossible for Feng Fuyo to say that he didn't hate Guanpeng. Of course, he hated Guanpeng because he knew Feng Fuyo's position in Xinjiang. As long as he was in the ring, everyone would bet on him to win. That way, Guanpeng could use his death to maximize his benefits. Chapter 990. Underground boxers definitely overloaded their bodies with training. Therefore, anyone who fought underground boxers would always have their muscles and bones deteriorate earlier than normal people. This was because they overdraft too much in advance, which led to this situation. This meant that the retirement age of underground boxers was much earlier than normal people. Generally speaking, no underground boxers could retire with glory. They would die 3 to 5 years after the age of 35. Basically, it was all arranged by the boss. He would use the last of their remaining fame to maximize the benefits, and then abandon them. Feng Fulong knew that he couldn't avoid it, but he didn't expect it to come so early. Also, he thought that his second brother would treat him differently from the other boxers. After all, he wasn't just a hero. He was also one of Guanpeng's most trusted people. Now Feng Fulong understood that no one was a general that Guanpeng couldn't abandon. They were just pawns. Those who could fight were just carriages, horses, and cannons. Those who were trusted were fortune tellers. They were all there to protect their generals, and were ready to be abandoned at any time. In their eyes, I'm already a dead man. I don't care if I die again. Feng Fulong said coldly. If you want me to do anything, just tell me. I, Feng Fulong, can make a friend like you before I die. It's worth it. Brother, you're really broad-minded. I've never seen someone like you in my life. If you don't mind, you can be friends with someone like me who's about to die. If you treat me as a friend, then don't be so courteous. If you want to live, then stop those small shrimps for me. Su Yun said. Even though you took a punch from me, you can still do this, right? As for Guanpeng and the other people you can't beat, just leave them to me. If they want to play, then I'll play with them. Feng Fulong faced the thunderous shouts of kill, kill. He abruptly stood up, the veins on his arms bulging as he fiercely gripped the iron cage of the boxing ring. Under his sudden exertion of strength, the iron cage that was as thick as a thumb was forcefully pulled into an arc. Everyone watched in horror as Feng Fulong stepped out of the cage. In the stands, Guanpeng narrowed his eyes and sneered. He thought that Su Yun's ability wasn't small. He even managed to buy Feng Leilong's heart. Humph, 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 it's time to play. Let's see who will be the final winner. Steel arms, iron fist, flowery knights, bloodthirsty. Today, it's up to you. Guanpeng gave the order, and the 4 people sitting behind him stood up one after another. These were the 4 people that Guanpeng trusted the most. They were his heavy blows. These 4 people naturally wouldn't participate in any underground boxing matches. To them, these things had long since lost their interest. Although Feng Fuyo was the best boxer under Guanpeng, he knew very well that he was no match for any of the 4 people. Just as Feng Fuyo walked out of the stage, a silver shadow flashed by, and a whip kick was aimed at Feng Fuyo's face. It was too fast for Feng Fulong to dodge. There was only one person here who had such a swift and ferocious leg technique, and that was Hua Lang. Just as the kick was about to overturn Feng Fuyo, it stopped abruptly. Hua Lang's ankle was tightly gripped by Su Yun's big hand like an iron clamp. Hua Lang was most confident in his leg technique. The whip kick just now was so fast that even he couldn't see his own leg technique clearly, and yet it was caught by this person in front of him. Of course, he couldn't believe what was happening in front of him. "Leave this to me, you go do what you need to do." Su Yun's lips curled up, and he smiled at Feng Fuyo. Then he stared at Hua Lang with a provocative gaze. Hua Lang had always been arrogant and domineering. In this life, other than bowing his head in front of Guan Peng, he didn't give face to anyone else. Now this young man in front of him was looking down on him. Hua Lang originally hated people who thought of themselves as experts who cultivated their mental state, and he had killed many of these so-called experts. Now that there was an opportunity, Hua Lang certainly wouldn't miss it. He wanted to show Su Yun what a real underground boxer was like. The strength of a real underground boxer was definitely not worse than the super experts who cultivated their mental state. But Hua Lang was wrong. He underestimated Su Yun. The most powerful expert he had ever encountered was only at the level of a super expert, and Su Yun was a master of the Grandmaster realm. A master of the Grandmaster realm was a whole level higher than a super expert. Hua Lang's lightning-fast legs were all easily dodged by Su Yun. Steel Hands quickly understood that Hua Lang was not his opponent at all. Steel Hands, who didn't like to bully with numbers, didn't waste time and quickly joined the battle. But a few consecutive palms still didn't hit Su Yun's vital points. "I don't need your help." Hua Lang's self-esteem was seriously provoked, and he roared with his eyes wide open. "I don't have time to waste on you now." While speaking, Iron Fist also came to Hua Lang's side. "You can't win alone. Second brother doesn't have the patience to wait. Let's work together to solve this problem as soon as possible." Although Hua Lang also understood this truth, when Iron Fist and Steel Hands pounced on Su Yun, he still didn't follow. This kind of unfair victory made him lose face. And the audience in the stands hadn't left yet. Everyone was watching this sudden situation with their eyes wide open. Everyone in Guan Peng's boxing field knew that if he didn't open the door, no one could leave, and no one could come in. So even if there was an unforeseen event, the scene was still quiet and orderly. No one tried to leave in a panic. Instead, they were all excited to watch this scuffle as a performance. If I had known earlier, today's ticket price would have been 100 times higher. Guan Peng lit a cigar and said to Bloodthirsty, who didn't participate in the battle behind him, "Why? Don't you want to go up and play? Are you so assured about your three brothers?" Bloodthirsty's face was completely expressionless. He just nodded silently. Of course he was assured, very assured. Iron Fist and Steel Hands had never failed when working together. In addition, they also had Hua Lang to help them. This combination made Bloodthirsty completely unable to find a reason to lose. Since they wouldn't lose, he naturally wouldn't make a move. Just when Bloodthirsty was confident that he didn't need to make a move, Steel Hands screamed. His right wrist was broken in an inconceivable way. He could only retreat after suffering such a heavy blow. Until then, Hua Lang suddenly realized. He didn't care about his self-esteem and quickly stepped forward to replace Steel Hand's position. Iron Fist didn't expect Su Yun's strength to be so strong. Only when they fought did they realize that they couldn't accurately position Su Yun before, which led to Steel Hand's accidental injury. Steel Hands relied on his right palm to dominate the underground boxing world. Now that his right arm was broken by Su Yun, it was equivalent to breaking Lu Bu's Sky Piercer and kicking away Zhang Fei's Serpent Spear. Steel Hands had almost lost all of his combat power in this high-intensity confrontation. Su Yun wasn't as gentle as before. When he fought with Feng Leilong just now, he was just warming up a little. But Guan Peng's 4 King Kongs had come out to join forces. If he still went easy, he was afraid that he would be the unlucky one. Su Yun knew this very well. So he attacked ruthlessly. Hit the snake at its weakest point. After breaking Steel Hand's forearm, the next step was to deal with Hua Lang's left leg. Although Hua Lang's moves were somewhat fancy and impractical, it had to be said that the deterrent force of his left leg was quite great. At least, Su Yun didn't want to take the risk of being kicked. If he was kicked in the face, it would be 100% disfigurement. Chapter 991. In the blink of an eye, Hua Lang's kick came again. This time, Suyin did not plan to let him go so easily. He first dodged the Iron Fist attack, then he launched 3 consecutive heavy punches. Each of his punches landed heavily on Hualang's kneecaps. What a good move, King of Hell's 3 points hand. Hualang screamed and fell to the ground with his hands hugging his knees. Taking advantage of this, Iron Fist's thunderous strike landed on Suyun's heart. This time, Suyun didn't have time to dodge. Even so, Suyun wouldn't let his opponent have an easy time. Just as Iron Fist's fist landed on Suyun's chest, Suyun's sun-facing wind palm also landed on Iron Fist's chest. Suyun took a step back and used his internal energy to suppress his heart meridian, so that it wouldn't be damaged. Iron Fist's body was like a kite with a broken string as he was sent flying by Suyun's palm. Suyun didn't follow the usual rules when dealing with underground fighters who only practiced martial arts and didn't cultivate their minds. Whether it was Tai Chi or level 8, he either used softness to overcome hardness or violence to curb violence. As for the result, it was naturally excellent. Hualang with a broken leg and Steel Arms with a broken arm had lost their biggest advantage in battle. Iron Fist spat out mouthfuls of blood due to the shock to his heart meridian. His legs couldn't support his body anymore. Feng Leilong's defeat was within Guan Peng's expectations, so he wasn't nervous at all. But now Steel Arms, Hualang, and Iron Fist were all heavily injured by Suyun. Guan Peng, who was always calm, finally couldn't help but frown. His fingers gripped the armrest of his chair. His eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. Second brother, I'm afraid this has proven that I didn't overestimate Suyun. You underestimated his strength. Bloodthirsty said indifferently. I'm afraid his strength has already surpassed the realm of super experts. At least, I'm not his opponent. You. Guan Peng was stunned. He thought that Bloodthirsty didn't make a move, because he was confident in the other 3. He didn't expect this guy to think that he couldn't win, so he didn't make a move at all. This was the only way to ensure that he could escape unscathed and not suffer such heavy injuries like the other 3. It was an eye-opener for the people in the stands. At this moment, they had even forgotten what had happened before. Some of them had already become Suyun's fans. They began to clamor that they would bet 10 million on Suyun to win. Suyun had already dealt with 3 of the 4 great guardian deities. He originally thought that the remaining one would be the most difficult to deal with, but he didn't expect that the remaining one didn't even need to be dealt with. He didn't even have the intention to go up. On the other side, Feng Fulong was also very successful. Although he was punched by Suyun, as the saying goes, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. No one wanted to take the risk to attack Feng Fulong. Besides, Feng Fulong's status here was higher than these guys in front of him. The underground boxing world had a strict hierarchy for a long time, so they didn't dare to act rashly towards Feng Fulong. Seeing that the situation was starting to become one-sided, Guan Peng could no longer sit still. He laughed and clapped his hands while ordering people to turn on the lights of the entire underground boxing arena. The originally dim scene suddenly became brightly lit. The noisy people also quieted down. Although there were many people in the audience who often came to watch boxing gambling, no one had seen the scene of the entire arena being turned on. Naturally, people couldn't help but look up out of curiosity. It didn't matter if they looked up. Above everyone's head, there was a sharp knife shining with silver light. It seemed that it would fall down at any time. The noisy crowd quieted down. They all quieted down because their lives were in danger. Everyone, don't panic. As long as I don't press the controller in my hand, the daggers on the ceiling will continue to stay where they are. Guan Peng said. This is just to prevent a riot at the scene. I don't want a rain of daggers to fall here. I'm afraid that many people will die. No one dared to say a word. When one's life was threatened, people would become especially quiet and obedient. I hope that everyone can supervise each other and see who is around you. Once someone wants to leave, I will press the password. Everyone will suffer because of this, so it depends on everyone's self-awareness. We need to supervise each other. If one person wants to escape, everyone will die. As soon as Guan Peng's voice fell, everyone's head buzzed. Who still had the thought of escaping? They all put their minds on the people around them, afraid that they would lose their lives because of someone escaping. The entire arena was so quiet that even a pin drop could be heard. I'm afraid that what happened between us has nothing to do with these people, right? Suyin suddenly said. Guanpeng smiled slightly. Suyin, what a good Suyin. Ha ha ha. Have you forgotten that these people were hoping that Feng Leilong would break your neck 10 minutes ago? They're all betting on your death. Your death will bring them huge benefits. Don't you remember? Suyin didn't say anything. I can understand if anyone here pleads for them, but I can't understand if you plead for them. Guanpeng's smile gave people a perverted feeling. These people are indeed trash. To put it nicely, they're called animals in human clothing. To put it bluntly, they're called walking corpses. Suyin said. But they don't deserve to die. Guanpeng, you killed so many people. Aren't you afraid that the heavens will punish you and send you to hell? Guanpeng glared. I'm already living in hell. Also, I don't like people calling me by my name. Oh right. I should call you second brother. Suyin said disdainfully. Oh right, second brother, there's something I want to confirm. Your two is the two from two, right? Guanpeng's cheekbones trembled. Other than Xinjiang, there probably wasn't a second person who dared to talk to him like this. Suyin, I want to see how long you can be so stubborn. After saying that, Guanpeng clapped his hands. Yi Fala's hands were tied behind her back, and she was brought out from the backstage room. After seeing Yi Fala, Suyun's face became gloomy. Guanpeng, do you know what kind of man I'm most disgusted with? It's a sissy like you who bullies women. Don't misunderstand. I won't do anything to Yi. Guanpeng said. I just want to prove to her that you, Suyun, don't care about her at all. I, Guanpeng, am the one who cares about her the most. Was there something wrong with this guy's brain? Suyin was startled. Could it be that Guanpeng was treating him as his love rival? Wait a minute. Yi Fala never told Suyin that Guanpeng was interested in her? And she didn't admit that she knew Guanpeng. Guanpeng, you should really see a psychiatrist. Yi Fala coldly glared at Guanpeng. She helplessly glanced at Suyin. This matter started because of her. How could she still have the face-to-face Suyin? Guanpeng, however, remained unmoved. Suyin, make a choice now. Do you want Yi to go with you? Or do you want everyone here to leave? If you choose Yi, then I'll kill everyone in the audience. If you choose those people, Yi will be mine in the future. You can scram as far as you can. This guy was really a psychopath. Let these people go. Suyin didn't even think about it. Yi, did you see that? This guy doesn't care about you at all. Guanpeng roared. He was obviously very agitated. Chapter 992. Suyun's domineering and arrogant attitude completely infuriated Guanpeng. Guanpeng was not someone to be trifled with. As the #1 person in the underground boxing world, he was not only a good boss in the underground boxing world, but also relied on his fists to fight his way to his current position step by step. Facing Suyun's fists, Guanpeng did not say anything and directly used his fists to fight back. Everyone's heart was in suspense. The password that controlled everyone's lives was in Guanpeng's hands. As long as Guanpeng gently pressed it, the daggers hanging above everyone's heads would not have eyes. If girls liked the romance of a rain of flowers, then a sky full of daggers would be a bloody romance. Suyun's goal was very clear. He wanted to snatch the password from Guanpeng's hands and save these people from the abyss of suffering. If this abnormal person's hand trembled and pressed the password, this place would instantly become a purgatory. This kind of case would directly shock the whole country. At that time, the entire Xinjiang police force would probably be involved. Even if Qin Wan'er was responsible, she might lose her job because of this. This did not mean that Suyun cared about Qin Wan'er's job. After all, thousands of lives were involved. If Suyun did not care, his conscience would not be able to live with it. No matter what, saving people was more important. Guanpeng's strength was not comparable to those people before. He was far ahead of Feng Leilong. Even if his bullshit 4 great Vajras were added together, they would not be half of Guanpeng's strength. To be able to rule the underground boxing world of Xinjiang, it would be impossible if he did not have some real skills. When dealing with those guys before, Su Yun could use the power of Tai Chi to play around with them. He could use Bajiquan to directly break their joints. Guanpeng was not so easy to deal with. At least for now. It seemed that the two sides had half the sky. Guanpeng's mixed martial arts was ever-changing. Su Yun also used mixed martial arts to deal with it. It was dazzling and overwhelming. Both of them used a type of competitive fighting technique, with extremely open rules. In this kind of underground boxing world where there were no rules, the more open the rules were, the more people could gain a foothold and win a place for themselves. Su Yun wasn't unfamiliar with this either. In the Dragon Brigade's tournament, everyone would use mixed martial arts to fight. Finally, Su Yun seized the opportunity and pressed both of his hands on Guanpeng's chest. His left hand was on top, and his right hand was on the bottom. His body suddenly moved to the same side, and one of his legs was on Guanpeng's neck, while the other leg was on Guanpeng's chest. He clamped down with all his strength, and both of his hands were tightly gripping Guanpeng's left arm. Of course, it was impossible to completely subdue Guanpeng with just one move. Su Yun just wanted to snatch the passcode. However, Guanpeng used the gap between his chest and throat to break free from Su Yun's grip. Instead, he wanted to use Su Yun's opening to give Su Yun a guillotine move. However, Su Yun's reaction speed was completely beyond his expectations. Before he could lock Guanpeng's throat, Guanpeng had already escaped from Su Yun's attack range. The two of them exchanged more than 10 moves, and neither of them had the upper hand. Guanpeng didn't have it easy. The fight had exhausted too much of his stamina. Su Yun smiled slightly. He had played enough, and had seen the strength of underground boxers. Su Yun had to admit that it was indeed an eye-opener for someone who didn't rely on the state of mind to reach such a level. However, if one wanted to become a top expert, it was impossible to cultivate without the state of mind. At least now, it could be seen in terms of stamina. Although Guanpeng's physical training was more than 10 times that of Su Yun's, he would still pant because of his stamina. However, Su Yun, who had cultivated his chi for 20 years, didn't pant because of the high-intensity confrontation just now. The gap was always discovered inadvertently. If this continued, in less than 10 rounds, Guanpeng would inevitably reveal a flaw because of his stamina. When that time came, Su Yun wouldn't even need to waste too much energy to finish him off. However, Su Yun wasn't the kind of person who liked to wait patiently. When Guanpeng once again pounced forward, Su Yun didn't care about the rules of mixed martial arts, and met him with a kick to the groin. Peng. Who would have thought? Guanpeng knelt on the ground in pain. Su Yun walked forward to Guanpeng's back, and wrapped his arms tightly around Guanpeng's neck. This strangling technique was known as the guillotine, so one could imagine how dangerous it was. Su Yun's arms exerted pressure on Guanpeng's trachea, preventing him from breathing air into his lungs. The feeling of suffocation quickly replaced the pain in his balls. Guanpeng struggled and tried to pry Su Yun's arms away, and threw the password control in his hands to the ground. Su Yun's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast, and he stomped on it fiercely. The password control was smashed into pieces by Su Yun. Everyone in the audience held their breaths at almost the same time, and their next action was naturally to look up at the top of their heads. The daggers on top of their heads didn't fall down because of the password control, and the entire boxing field instantly became restless. Without a threat to their lives, who would be willing to sit under a sky full of daggers? Pang! A gunshot echoed in the field. Feng Fuyo stood at the highest point, and coldly said to the audience, "Sit down. It's not time for you to go out yet." The bullets once again made everyone obediently submit. Guanpeng struggled for almost 5 minutes, and finally gave up resisting. Su Yun's steel-like arms were tightly strangling his neck, and he had already started to faint due to the lack of oxygen. If this continued, he was afraid that he would really be strangled to death by Su Yun. The moment Guanpeng fainted, Su Yun breathed a sigh of relief, and heavily threw Guanpeng's body on the ground. Other than the traitorous Feng Fuyo and the injured third King Kong, the other underground boxers had no idea what to do. The head of the 4 King Kong, Bloodthirsty, had already disappeared. This guy's skill of escaping was really good. After Yi Fala's hands were untied, she immediately rushed in front of Su Yun. Su Yin reflexively opened his arms and pulled Yi Fala into his arms. This was how it was in the movies. Next, Yi Fala would be so moved that she would cry and punch Su Yin a few times. She would stupidly shout, "You're bad, you're 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 bad." But reality was not like that. Yi Fala only stayed in Su Yin's arms for a second, and then broke free. When Guanping asked you to make a choice, couldn't you say something nice? Am I not as important as this group of people who have nothing to do with you? They are indeed not important, but 1,000 lives is really important. Su Yin did not know how to explain. Yi Fala had already passed the age of an ignorant girl, and would not pester him, but she was still a little angry. Then Su Yin notified Qin Wan and asked her to lead a team to Qin Tai Hotel to arrest the people. Qin Wan not only successfully arrested the mastermind of the explosion, but also found the biggest underground boxing ring in Xinjiang City. She caught a group of backbones and a lot of money, and the thousands of spectators who participated in the underground boxing and gambling were all fined and detained. It was another beautiful case of killing many birds with one stone. Chapter 993. The underground boxing gang led by Guanpeng was eliminated, and the thousands of people involved in the underground boxing gambling were not let off either. They all obediently stayed in the police station and deeply reflected on their actions. They also used the most sincere attitude to accept the police's education on the correct outlook on life and values. Qin Wan had made a great contribution. To her, this was not a rare thing for the police. Even if Su Yin did not tell her, Qin Wan would not drag the trouble to Su Yin. Su Yin did these things not for the sake of rewards. Everyone was well aware of this. Of course, there were a few people in the police station who knew that Qin Wan solved many big cases under the operation of Su Yin. But so what? As long as the case was solved, it did not matter who did it or what method was used. Anyway, the one who made the contribution was the entire Xinjiang police station. It was good for everyone. Although Yi Fala was forced to stay in the Qin Tai Hotel, she did not have a frightened expression. She, who had already experienced many storms, did not take this matter to heart. From the beginning to the end, Guanpeng could not hurt a single strand of her hair. Everything was targeted at Su Yin. The matter was over, and everyone understood. Su Yin bitterly smiled. If this kind of thing happened a few more times, he would not be able to take it. Which of the beauties around him was not as beautiful as flowers? If every one of them provoked one or two love rivals like Guanpeng, then Su Yin would not be able to live. He would have to deal with these trivial matters all day. Yizi, how many people in Xinjiang are drooling over you? Su Yin was not joking. If this matter was really clear, at least they would be mentally prepared. Yi Fala shrugged her shoulders. Then she was helpless. She was not clear about this. How would she know how many men there were? She had been single all these years. Before Su Yin appeared, she, the Black Widow Xinjiang, was the center of attention in any upper-class society. Not the mutated meaning of Baoqiang, but the meaning of the word itself. What do you want to hear? Do you want me to say that I don't have any? Or, there are so many that I can't even remember them myself? The latter half of Yi Fala's sentence was the truth. She really couldn't remember how many people had expressed their goodwill to her, and how many people had fought to the point of bleeding because of her. However, she had never smiled at any of them from the beginning to the end. A year ago, the two super hedonistic sons of Xinjiang City had fallen in love with Yi Fala at first sight, causing a very chaotic group fight in Xinjiang City. Even the most famous bar in Times Square was set on fire. 58 participants were seriously injured and 4 died. Because of this incident, the two instigators of the incident were sentenced to prison for causing trouble. Originally, this kind of thing would have been severely punished, but unfortunately, their families had connections. One was sentenced to 2 years, while the other was sentenced to 3 years. He reckoned that he would be able to release it very soon if he tried to clear it up a little more. Then it's hard to say if it will stop. Su Yin smiled bitterly. Right now, he couldn't care so much about other things. He would deal with whatever came his way. There would always be a way out. Lin Gu had been waiting outside. When the police car arrived, he rushed in with Chin Wan. Knowing that Brother Yin had taken care of this group of people by himself, he was really surprised for a while. Seeing that Yi Fala was fine, they were relieved. The matter had finally reached a stage. After more than 10 hours of long-distance travel, Kevin, Matthew, and Chang finally arrived in Yanjing before midnight. Chang threw empty bottles of Red Bull in the back seat of the car. No matter how tired he was from driving, he wasn't willing to let Kevin Matthew sit in the driver's seat. When they got off the highway, Kevin Matthew was really apologetic. "Let me drive. You don't have to worry so much. You and Su Yin are brothers, and I and Su Yin are brothers. We are all brothers. If you continue to be so polite, then you don't treat me as one of your own." No. You really misunderstood me. I definitely treat you as one of my own," Chang said. "But I'm worried that you won't be used to driving. In Huaxia, the driver's seat is on the left. Don't you all drive on the right? It will definitely be very awkward." "Who told you that we drive on the right in other countries?" Kevin Matthew said. "There aren't many countries that drive on the right. Hong Kong, Macau, Japan, Thailand, and India are. Most of the other countries are small island countries. Most of the countries in the world drive on the left. Obviously, America drives on the left. Haven't you watched American dramas?" Qiangzi was suddenly enlightened. "Damn. The cars in American dramas really drive on the left," Chang exclaimed and patted his head hard. "It's really terrible to be uncultured. I've lost all my face. I owe my brain. If I had known, we would have taken turns driving on the highway. I wouldn't be so tired like this." It was already late and they had gotten off the highway. Chang didn't need to let Kevin Matthew drive. After finding a decent hotel, Chang could finally get off the car and rest his numb buttocks. He liked the A6 because the Audi was comfortable. However, after driving for a long time, even the Bentley would hurt his buttocks. It was comfortable only because it was comfortable. "Let's have a good rest tonight. If there's anything, we can do it tomorrow morning." After Chang parked the car, he asked tentatively. He was afraid that Kevin Matthew would look for someone without stopping. He couldn't bear it. No matter how tired he was, Chang would never let Kevin Matthew do things alone. If Brother Yin knew about it, he couldn't explain it. He came out to do things, not to play. Kevin Matthew nodded. "Of course. Rest today. You are already very tired. It must be very tiring to drive for so long. I'm embarrassed. I really don't know what to say." No need to be embarrassed. You can treat me to a meal in the room later. Call 2 masseuses for me." Chang twisted his stiff neck. Kevin Matthew was startled. Before he could react, Chang grinned. "I'm just joking with you. Don't take it seriously. By the way, I don't know if there are door-to-door services in the United States, but you have to be careful in Huaxia. If you receive a call from the room asking if you want a massage, you can refuse. You'll be lucky if you meet an ugly and expensive one. If you meet a badger, then you're out of luck." "Badger? What do you mean?" "Zombies." Kevin Matthew had never heard of such words. Chang scratched his head. "The most traditional example is to let a good-looking girl seduce a single young man like you. She will call you and ask if you want special services. Then she will go to your room. If you are about to do something, the door will suddenly be kicked open. A bunch of people who claim to be the girl's husband, brother, or father will rush in. They will catch you on the spot and force you to sign a huge sum of compensation. If you don't comply, they will beat you violently. They will not stop until they get the so-called cover-up fee." Kevin Matthews' jaw almost dropped. "No way. Is it as exaggerated as you say? Can Huaxia be so chaotic? This is Yanjing, the capital. Shanghai is useless. Where there is profit, there is harm." Chang said seriously, "Remember, don't let those girls who call come to your door. If you really want to pass the time, I will recover my strength tomorrow and take you directly to earthly paradise. That place is called the best." Chapter 994. Chang slept like a log that night. When he opened his eyes, the sun was already shining on his butt. Although Chang didn't want to wake up yet, he had to get up because of the mission. After getting out of bed, Chang washed his face a few times and hurriedly knocked on the door of the next room. Kevin Matthew had already eaten the breakfast buffet and was waiting for Chang to wake up. Seeing Chang's embarrassed look, Kevin Matthew smiled and invited him into the room. "Brother Matthew, I'm really sorry. I slept until now. I didn't delay anything important, did I? If I delayed your matter, then I'm really sorry." Chang apologized first and said, "I'm ready. I can leave at any time. Just say the word." "I didn't delay anything. I'm still researching now." Kevin Matthew called Chang to the computer and pointed to some information on the screen. "The old place I'm looking for was demolished a few years ago. It was all built into high-end commercial houses with more than 30 floors. Phew, I'm afraid the address I know is no longer useful. Although Beijing is not big, there are too many people. It's too difficult to find a person without a target. Help me think. Do you have any clues?" "I don't have any clues now. I don't know what to do next." Chang nodded and said, "That's okay. Let's go to the property management of this place and ask. As long as we know the name, we might be able to find out. Huaxia may be different from the United States. After the old houses here were demolished, the local residents have the benefits of moving back. They live in this community. So, the person you are looking for may still be in this place." Hearing Chang's words, Kevin Matthews' eyes lit up. "My mighty Huaxia's policies and benefits are good. They can even move back. Not only can they demolish the old house, but they can also live in a new house. This is not a good thing in any country. Of course, there are also some who might not choose to move back." Chang said, "Some people feel that the subsidies are too low and don't want to move. In the end, they have no choice but to be demolished. If they don't move back, there might be additional rewards. This would also cause some people to choose to move away forever. We can only confirm these things when we get there. Let's go now." "Let's go." Kevin Matthew couldn't wait to rush to the residential area. If this piece of land was placed in the current Yanjing, it would definitely be a premium property in a superior location. It was the Third Ring Road. Among all the people in the world, the number of people who could afford to buy a house in the Third Ring Road was definitely less than 1 in 10,000. Therefore, those who could afford to live in the Third Ring Road always had a sense of superiority. Not to mention the people who lived here. Even the people who worked here had an inexplicable sense of superiority. It was not some Fortune 500 company. It was just a property management department of a small community. Did they have to be so arrogant? Just that woman's Beijing accent and indifferent attitude made Chang feel disgusted. If he saw such a person in Hudong, Chang would have already greeted them with a big slap. He really didn't know if this woman didn't know that she was sitting here to provide service, not to pretend to be a queen. "Find someone? You just gave me a name and you want me to find someone? Do you think that's possible?" The woman cracked melon seeds and said to Kevin Matthew with a cold attitude, "There's no way to do this." Kevin Matthews' attitude was quite sincere. "I know it might be a little troublesome, but I really have no other choice. That's why I'm asking you this. Sorry to trouble you." No. Please don't trouble me." The woman shook her head and waved her hand. "Do you know the lowest floor here is 33 floors, and the highest is 48 floors. There are nearly 200 buildings. The smallest building has 96 households, and the largest building has 198 households. How many households are there? You can calculate it. How am I supposed to find out?" After saying that, the woman spat out the melon seeds in her mouth and muttered, "It's easy for you to say that. F***K. What the F***K are you talking about? Can't you talk nicely?" Chang was anxious when he heard that. This woman actually gave Kevin Matthew a cold shoulder. "Don't you have a computer? Don't tell me you don't even have the information of your own residents? You can just use your computer to check the database and you'll know. Are you bullying us foreigners because we don't know about high technology? Let me tell you, let's not talk about Xinjiang. Even in the small cities below, elevators and houses are not rare anymore." "Bah. What kind of attitude is that? Who are you talking about?" When the woman heard Chang's sarcasm, she slammed the melon seeds in her hand on the table and stood up. "Don't come here to find trouble. We are the property management. We are the management of the residential area, not the people's police. If you want to find someone, go find the police. The police uncle is very free and can help you. The customer is God. You're still yelling at me? Chang glared at her. With his short temper, how could he stand this? The woman was not weak at all. God? Can you afford to buy the houses here? Foreigner, let me tell you, the houses in Yanjing's Third Ring Road can't be bought with 10,000 or 20,000 yuan. We are a high-class residential area. What do you know about a high-class residential area? 35,000 square meters. The smallest one now is 283 square meters. Including the house tax and opening fees, you can't get it without 10 million yuan. As she spoke, the woman glanced at the parking lot outside the property management department. Do you really think you're rich just because you drive an A6? A car that costs 500,000 yuan is nothing in Yanjing. CK your grandpa. Chang's short temper flared up. He really wanted to turn the property management department upside down. Other than the woman's bad attitude, the other employees of the property management department also looked at Chang with disdain, as if he was the uncultured troublemaker. Forget it, Kevin Matthew said. Since they can't find it, let's not make things difficult for them. Maybe they really can't find it. If they can find it, can the employees still find an excuse? Brother, you don't understand. This is not America, where the employees do what they can. This is Huaxia, where these dogs can do whatever they can. They just want to take the money and not do the work. Chang said, even if there are 100,000 households here, if someone didn't pay the electricity and water bills, they will definitely find out within 5 minutes. You don't understand the country's situation. They are just fooling you. The woman who was eating melon seeds glanced at Kevin Matthew. I can't tell that you have been abroad. What are you pretending to be? Chang glared at her. Do you believe that I will slap you? Come on, try it. Try hitting me. I don't believe that you dare to kill people in front of the emperor. The woman who was eating melon seeds was definitely a shrew. In this day and age, the people in the property management department were so shameless. If they had a little face, they wouldn't be able to do this kind of work that involved arguing with the owners. Xiangzi raised his head and glanced at the cameras. If he really slapped them, it would be unreasonable. Okay, just you wait. I will definitely complain to your leader. Chang gritted his teeth hatefully. The woman rolled her eyes. Then I am really sorry. I am the leader of the property management department. If you want to complain, just tell me. I will help you punish him. Country bumpkin. Kevin Matthew had never seen such a scene. He hurriedly pulled Chang away. If this continued, it wouldn't be good for either of them. Although Chang was pulled into the car, the more he thought about it, the more he felt vexed. In his anger, he did something extremely impulsive. Chapter 995. After the impulse, Chang regretted it in his heart. Brother Yin arranged for him to come here to help Kevin Matthew, not to cause trouble for Kevin Matthew. This wasn't their small county in Hudong, nor was it in Xinjiang, where Qin Wanner could protect him. This was Yanjing, the capital. Doing this kind of thing here was simply asking for trouble. Kevin Matthew didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Originally, he was thinking of looking for another way. Now he was afraid that he couldn't even leave. The most troublesome thing was that he didn't have a visa, no identification, and a pistol. If he was caught by the police, he would be in big trouble. Ai Chang, your impulse is the devil. You have forced Kevin Matthew into a dead end. Brother Matthew, I'm really sorry. I was impulsive and couldn't care about anything. Chang Zi said with a bitter face. If Big Brother Yun knew that I had caused such a huge mess for you, he would definitely shoot me in the head. Chang also knew that if Kevin Matthew was involved in this matter, it would be troublesome. This was also the reason why Su Yin wanted him to accompany him all the way. Although they gave Kevin Matthew a fake ID, it could only be used to open a room in the hotel. Once they went to the police station, they would be able to find out that Kevin Matthew wasn't the person on the ID. Except for the photo of Kevin Matthew, the name and number on the ID were all Dan Hongning's. Brother Matthew, you go first. I will stop them for you here. I am the one who caused this. I guess I won't have a good time in jail. You inform Brother Yin and bring me to apologize to him. Chang finished speaking and directly opened the door to get out of the car. He scolded the crowd. How dare you provoke me? Do you know who I am? F***ck, who dares to touch me? Do you believe that I won't kill you? With Chang's shout, the property department's security guards came over. Kevin Matthew took the opportunity to quickly escape from the scene. Chang was now at most a public troublemaker, causing serious disorder in public places, and wantonly destroying public property. As long as he didn't hurt anyone and the circumstances weren't bad, he wouldn't be sentenced to any serious punishment. At most, he would be detained and suffer a little. A few security guards forcibly restrained Chang, but Chang had been in many fights since he was young, so he would not give in so easily. He waited until he was sure that Kevin Matthew was far away before he calmed down. Stop. Let's talk nicely. Let's wait for the police to come. I know what I did wrong. Chang's attitude suddenly improved, making the security guards confused. F***ck. If you hit me again, I'll sue you for assault. There is a camera recording. Don't disfigure your face in self-defense. Don't regret it. Chang saw that the security guard still wanted to make a move. He glared and roared. As expected of a veteran of the underworld, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage no matter where he went. Chang made a big fuss, and then pretended that nothing had happened while waiting for the police. In any case, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage. If they fought, he would be the one at a disadvantage. 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. Chang was very clear about this. What's that smell? It's so smelly. Chang glanced at the woman who was eating melon seeds and said with disgust, F***ck. You're so scared that you peed your pants over such a small matter? If I drive into your house another day, I reckon you'll be so scared that you'll go see the king of hell, right? The woman who was eating melon seeds didn't dare to talk to such a fierce guy. She covered her face in wet pants and left the work post crying. This was definitely the darkest day of her life. She lost face to the bone. The efficiency of the Beijing police was high. They arrived at the scene of the crime within an hour. When the property department saw that the police had arrived, they finally straightened their backs and revealed the crimes that Chang had committed. Everyone wanted to make sure that Chang didn't die a good death. Of course, the police wouldn't only listen to their side of the story. They turned and asked Chang, "How do you explain this?" "Police comrade, you have to make a decision for me. I was unlucky today. I came to the property department to do something, but I met a woman who ate gunpowder. She just didn't want to do it for me," Chang said with a bitter face. "I thought that since they didn't want to do it for me, I would just leave. Who knew that the car would have a problem? I was obviously in reverse gear, but when I stepped on the gas, it rushed forward. Do you think I did it on purpose? I'm just a small citizen. I love cars like my life. Even if I used my head to hit it, I wouldn't be willing to hit it with the car. Don't you think I'm wronged? They're still accusing me of looking for trouble." Chang had learned how to make trouble many years ago. He was just bluffing. Anyway, he didn't have to pay taxes. The car broke down? It rushed forward in reverse gear? The police certainly didn't believe Chang's nonsense. "Are you an Audi scammer? For so many years, I have never heard of a car that could rush forward in reverse gear. Kid, your reason is really nonsense. Don't, police brother. I'm really not joking. I haven't seen it before. Didn't I see it today?" Chang said, "If I was an Audi scammer, would I still buy this car to drive? Don't you think so? People say that once you enter the Volkswagen door, you'll be a Volkswagen forever. My Passat was upgraded to A6. It's a Volkswagen brand. I won't drive a car that isn't a Volkswagen. I'm definitely a loyal member of the Godly Car Party." The police impatiently waved his hand. Chang was too good at bullshitting. He wasn't in the mood to listen to him. Okay. It's useless no matter how much you say. There are surveillance videos. If you have anything to say, come with me to the police station. "Police brother, what about my car?" Chang pointed to his Audi. The police glared at him. "Drag it away first. This is a tool for committing crimes. If you did it intentionally, this car will be confiscated directly. You're really ruthless. Such a sturdy car was damaged like this. The airbags all popped out. I guess the engine is also scrapped. Chang's blood rushed to his head just now. He really didn't care about anything else. If this car was really scrapped, it would be enough to make his heart ache for a while. Cars are meant to be driven, not rammed. Fortunately, you're a German car. If it were a Japanese car, I'm afraid people would be injured. The police officer was obviously an angry young man who hated Japan. He definitely didn't want to miss the opportunity to get a black Japanese car. Chang nodded. Yes. That's a must. Driving a Japanese car is a disguised form of betrayal. The police officer was quite satisfied when he heard that. In fact, Chang wasn't so angry. The people wanted to earn money, and it was none of their business what they bought. It was also good to save money. Chang was disgusted with the Japanese and the Japanese government, but he wasn't disgusted with Japanese cars. Japanese cars were not bad. Moreover, they were all joint ventures. To put it bluntly, it was produced by Huaxia Automobile Factory. There was no need to be so extreme. Many angry young people online were so angry when they heard that someone bought a Japanese car that they wanted to kill the owner's family. It was really useless. It would only lower their standards. After collecting evidence at the scene, Chang was brought back to the police station by the police. Chang didn't care about fines and compensation, but he couldn't be detained. This would delay Kevin Matthews' matter. Brother Yin would be angry. This was what he was most afraid of. Kevin Matthew wasn't involved in this matter. To Chang, it was definitely a blessing in disguise. Although Kevin Matthew left the scene, he didn't go far. He had been waiting at a place where he could observe the situation. When Chang was taken away, he quickly called Su Yun. He had to inform Su Yun immediately. He really didn't have the ability to get Chang out. This matter still depended on Su Yun. Chapter 996. Su Yun's had almost exploded when he heard what Kevin Matthew said. Chang, you are too muddle-headed. How can you do things like this? Su Yun arranged for Chang to go because he thought that he would be more stable. He didn't expect that he would cause such a big trouble for him. After hanging up the phone, Su Yun quickly packed his things and immediately drove to Yanjing with Lin Ge. Originally, Lin Ge was thinking about going to Qingdao to play with Fangya for a few days when he was free. But now, it seemed that Chang's arrival in Yanjing had completely extinguished the small flame of his beautiful days. Lin Ge also understood that Su Yun definitely didn't go to Yanjing just for Chang. He owed Kevin Matthew too much. This time, it was time for him to help him. After all, Su Yun grew up in Yanjing. Although there was no urban life in the place where he lived, he still had a big advantage compared to other people. He had a lot of connections. After Chang was taken to the police station, he gave a one-on-one statement. Because Kevin Matthew also appeared in the surveillance video. When the police asked, Chang firmly said that he didn't know him. The woman who was scared to the point of peeing was also taken to the police station to be accused. She insisted that the two of them were accomplices. Originally, it was nothing, but it aroused the vigilance of the police. After some investigation, they determined that there was something wrong between Chang and the accomplice. They insisted that Chang tell them the whereabouts of Kevin Matthew. Chang was stubborn and insisted that he didn't know him. This angered the police. They started the interrogation early in the morning, and didn't even give Chang a sip of water until noon. Chang didn't eat breakfast, so his stomach was rumbling. Police, you are abusing me. Even if I am a criminal, you should give me some water and food, right? You guys are planning to use the same trick to deal with me. You're right. If you cooperate, you'll suffer less. If you don't cooperate, then bear with it obediently. If 1 day doesn't work, then 2 days. If 2 days don't work, then 3 days. The policeman said. Just from the way you bumped into me just now, it's obvious that you're a drug addict. Tell me, who are you two? Police comrade, you can't accuse people like this. Just take a blood sample and do a urine test. Chang said. Even if you want to slander someone, you need evidence first. We are a law-abiding country. The policeman sneered. Oh, you know the law? Then let me tell you. Those who enter here do not know the law. Don't pretend to be an expert with me. Looking at your appearance, you must have reported to the police station many times. I'm warning you, if you have a criminal record, you will be severely punished. Chang really did have a criminal record. When he heard what the policeman said, he was a little scared. It couldn't be helped. He was just a small citizen who didn't have any connections in Yanjing. Brother Yin, oh Brother Yin, my fate is in your hands. You must be the savior, and save me from the sea of suffering. This wait lasted for more than 10 hours. Su Yin and Lin Gu rushed over after receiving the call. It was already night time. The two of them took turns driving. Other than going to the toilet and buying a few pieces of bread in the service area, the rest of the time they were driving nonstop. Once they entered Beijing, Su Yin contacted Kevin Matthew. After they met, Kevin Matthew finally breathed a sigh of relief. Chang hasn't come out since he was taken to the police station. Kevin Matthew said, I'm worried that it has something to do with me. Su Yin didn't need Kevin Matthew to say more to be able to guess Chang's thoughts. He and Kevin Matthew had caused trouble together. If Kevin Matthew's identity was taken to the police station, it wouldn't be a small matter. Don't worry, Chang knows what he's doing. He won't say anything that shouldn't be said. Kevin Matthew nodded. I know that too. He's loyal. But the police will definitely find a way to make him talk. It's said that all crows are black. I've heard of how the police in America interrogate people. I'm afraid it won't be easy in Huaxia. It can't be. Isn't America particular about human rights? Su Yin said. The police in Huaxia enforce the law impartially. Is that so? Kevin Matthew glanced at Su Yin. A few days ago, I heard news about a fish bite incident. It said that a paroled prisoner accidentally fell into a fish pond and was bitten by the small fish in the pond. His eyes and mouth were gone. No matter how you look at it, it sounds like the hide-and-seek incident from 2009. You have quite a lot of trust in the people's public security. Su Yin shrugged helplessly. Tsinghua University and Peking University also have bad students who spend money to go to school. There are also straight-A students who study hard in a teacher's college in a small county. So it's inevitable that there's a batch of trash in the people's public security. Incidents like hide-and-seek and fish bite are inevitable. Anyway, in the end, if they can't do it, there's still a temporary worker to take the blame. Is that a compliment or sarcasm? Kevin Matthew finally understood Su Yin's sarcasm. Su Yin stopped joking. His expression was a little serious as he said, I'm really a little worried that there might be a temporary worker who would be rough with Chang. Pigeon, you go to Panjiayuan now and find a person called Ma Sander. I'll send the street number to your phone. Just tell him that I want to get someone out of the San Juan police station and ask him to help me think of a way. Lin Gu nodded. In Yanjing, it was Brother Yun's world. His connections were all here. Just like when Lin Gu returned to the Caribbean Sea, he was familiar with people everywhere. With people and connections, it was easy to get things done. When Kevin Matthew learned that there was hope, the stone hanging in his heart finally fell. Wait a minute. Su Yin opened his mouth and stopped Lin Gu, who was just about to leave. He said, If Ma Saner asks you why I didn't come to find him personally, tell him that I have something important to do. If he's not willing to help me, then warn him and ask him if he still wants to open his shop in Panjiayuan. If he doesn't want to open it, then just say it. I'll get a few friends to investigate it. The people who did business in Panjiayuan were more or less suspected of participating in the reselling of cultural relics. This matter could be big or small. If it was small, it was the antique business. If it was big, then it could be. Okay. Lin Gu nodded vigorously. This time he had confidence in his heart. If he says he's not afraid of being investigated, then you can ask him if he's afraid of being smashed. After saying that, Su Yin glanced at Lin Gu and gave him a look that said, You know what I mean? Lin Gu suddenly understood. He guessed that Ma Saner was someone who refused a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Otherwise, Brother Yin wouldn't have told him so much. He told him so to tell him not to treat looking for Ma Saner as asking for help. If he didn't do it or couldn't do it well, then threaten him. Kevin Matthew didn't understand after listening for a long time. Isn't Ma Sanner your friend? Why do you have to threaten him? Ma Sanner, that grandson, is greedy for money and forgets righteousness for profit. He won't make friends with anyone. Su Yin smiled. It's just that his grandson owes me a big favor. If he doesn't help me, then I won't be polite to him. Kevin Matthew understood. He laughed twice. This kind of relationship was called a friend. No, to be exact, it should be a bad friend. Normal friends wouldn't do things like this. He really didn't know if Su Yin was careless in making friends, or if Ma Sanner was careless in making friends. Should we do something now? Although Kevin Matthew was relieved, it was inevitable that he was anxious. Chapter 997. Pan Garden had a rule of not doing business at night. It wasn't that the sellers didn't want to sell, but there really weren't any buyers in the middle of the night. It was too dark to see clearly. There were people taking care of the shop, but they were also taking care of their own business. Those who had good stuff would only enter the shop at night. To put it simply, at this hour the Pan family's courtyard was filled with family members and sellers who were here to sell big stuff. There were no idlers who came to buy things. According to the address that Su Yin sent to him, Lin Ge took countless turns and took countless wrong turns before he finally found the shop in the huge Panjiayuan. This Panjiayuan was like a huge maze. If one was not a regular customer, it was easy to get dizzy by the doors and eaves that were basically the same. Some knowledgeable readers told me that the Panjiayuan I wrote was different from the real Panjiayuan. Let me explain, this is a novel, not Panjiayuan. I even added a Z at the end. Don't get too immersed in the drama. Haha, this story is purely fictional. Knock, knock, knock. Lin Ge went up and knocked on the heavy wooden door. When he heard no response, he increased the strength of his hand and knocked on the door a few more times. Finally, a question came from inside the house. Are you here to sell? Lin Ge didn't know what it meant, but he nodded without hesitation. Yes, I'm here to sell. As long as the person inside could open the door, he didn't mind saying that he was a zombie herder. Compared to explaining so much, it seemed that admitting that he was a seller would make the person inside feel more comfortable and open the old wooden door for him. Then where's your stuff? The person inside the house asked again. Lin Ge was startled, but he immediately understood. He raised his head to look at the camera above the door and pointed at his neck. I'm wearing it myself, baby. I haven't seen the light yet. This is a good thing. Creak. Before Lin Ge could finish speaking, the door opened. Ma Sanner, with a sloppy and sleepy face, said to Lin Ge, who was standing at the door, "Come in and inspect the goods." Lin Ge nodded and followed Ma Sanner into the shop. Ma Sanner skillfully closed the door and looked at Lin Ge in surprise. Brother, I've never seen you before. Who are you with? Who recommended you to come here to ship the goods? As he spoke, Ma Sanner's gaze had already landed on the cowhide rope around Lin Ji's neck. He used his eyes to signal Lin Ge to quickly take it out and show it to him. Although he had asked so many questions, he did not intend to listen to any nonsense. Lin Ge smiled. Brother Yin asked me to come. My name is Lin Ge. Lin Ge. Ma Sanner's face was startled. He stared and said, Brother Yin? Which Brother Yin? Don't tell me it's Yin Long. Lin Ge quickly nodded. Ma Sanner's expression became more and more surprised. It can't be. This is the first time since the beginning of time. Brother Yin even introduced me to business. I'm really flattered. Okay. Since you are Brother Yin's friend, I will definitely give you the highest price in the market. If the item is priceless and I can't afford it, I will help you contact a buyer. I won't even take the labor fee. Your name is Ma Sanner. That's right, it's me. Although I don't have any pockmarks. Don't worry, we are on the same side. I'm definitely reliable. Ma Sanner introduced himself. He couldn't wait to see the goods now. Su Yin definitely wouldn't be interested in ordinary things. Since he had already introduced him, who knew if Lin Ji's neck was the heart-shaped stone that Tang Xuanzong gave to Yang Guifei? Lin Ge nodded. If you are on the same side, then you are definitely reliable. To be honest, I'm not here to sell anything. I only have a dog tooth in my neck. It's not something valuable. What? Ma Sanner was startled. You brat, are you here to amuse me in the middle of the night? Even if you are Su Yun's brother, you can't cheat him like this. Brother, you don't know the rules. I'm really sorry, third brother. I have no choice. Lin Ge said. I'm afraid you won't open the door after I explain it clearly. Brother Yin asked me to come to you. It's an emergency. Please help me. Io. Ma Sanner patted his forehead helplessly. He had already called him third brother. How could he not give him face? Fine, fine. Brother, tell me. What did Brother Yin ask you to do? It's a small matter. Lin Ge smiled. He wants to get someone out of the third ring road. One of his brothers committed a small crime. He wants you to help him. Ma Sanner's eyes widened. Are you kidding me? How is this a small matter? Do you think all the police stations in Yanjing are run by me? They are run by the government. That is a place with rules. If I want to get someone out, I won't stay here anymore. I will go to Zongnanhai directly. Ma Sanner complained and shook his head helplessly. Brother Yin must have a way to deal with such a small matter. I can't do it. No way. Third brother, there are some things that I'm embarrassed to say. Please be straightforward. Lin Ge said. It's an emergency. Brother Yin thought of you because he knows you are trustworthy. What's there to be embarrassed to say? Brother Yin must have taught you, right? Ma Sanner snorted. Tell him that I'm not afraid of being investigated. I'm very clean. Don't try this on me. I won't fall for it. Lin Ge sighed with emotion at Su Yun's accurate judgment. He picked up a blue and white porcelain vase on the table in Ma Sanner's shop. As expected, Ma Sanner's expression changed. Third brother, Brother Yin didn't say anything about investigating. Lin Ge smiled slightly. He said that you're not afraid of being investigated. You're afraid of smashing it. I don't know how much this thing in my hand is worth. What if my wrist trembles? Brother. I call you brother. You don't have to call me third brother. Ma Sanner wanted to cry. I give up. I give up. I will do whatever Brother Yin asks me to do. Don't worry. Go back and tell him that I will find my connections now. Ask him to wait for a while. I will definitely do it for him. Lin Ge stared at Ma Sanner and didn't intend to leave. Ma Sanner cried and picked up his phone helplessly. Then he began to make phone calls one after another. Speaking of which, Ma Sanner's network in Yanjing was quite big. After a few phone calls, he was able to contact the director of the Third Ring Road station. After a good discussion, Ma Sanner breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, this matter is settled. Ask Brother Yin to prepare to pick him up at the entrance of the Third Ring Road station. Lin Ji's face showed a bright smile. Third brother is really capable. He settled it with just a few words. Thank you, third brother. You're welcome. Big Brother Yin is really capable. To be able to force me to this extent, I owe him a few more favors. Sigh. Ma Sanner shook his head helplessly. Brother little Lin, can you put down my vase now? It's from the Song dynasty. It's a treasure. Of course, of course. Lin Ge put down the vase carefully. Third brother. Then I won't disturb your rest. When I have time later, I will treat you to a good drink. Ma Sanner waved his hand. He wasn't in the mood to drink. He had to give gifts and treat people involved in this matter. Although he had a lot of connections in Yanjing, it wasn't easy to find people to do things. If he didn't make up for the favors in time, no one would help him when he had business problems in the future. These relationships were all bought by Ma Sanner bit by bit with money. It wasn't something that could be done in a day. People nowadays were like this. There was no point in cramming at the last minute. If he wanted to maintain relationships, he would need at least 3 years of careful cultivation. Humans were complicated high-level animals. Everyone had selfish motives. It wasn't easy to protect them. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.